I muted myself. Let me try that again.
Did you? I heard you.
No, I muted myself on the streaming
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Oh, there's another way to mute.
Oh, God.
Fun.
How am I still so
Probably not
bad
for
at
us.
this?
I every single time with OBS. Every single time I do it too.
If there's one thing I've learned during this pandemic is there's a lot of different ways to. Again, I'm just gonna trail off at the end there.
There
Yep.
are, though. There are quite a few ways, too.
Yep. Okay. Let me.
Something.
No,
software.
no.
Get
This is the most penultimate or the ultimate burn campaign
Yep. Intro. Yep.
culmination.
Okay.
Intro.
I'm gonna try it again because I suck and.
Did we decide that burn is spelled with 9 R's or is it spelled?
That was at the start.
Hi everybody, welcome to Nature Check's Burn Campaign, the show where we come for the game and stay for the science. This is lucky episode number 13. Thanks as always to those of you who are watching us live. I already saw Qui-Gon check in the chat. I appreciate you being here. If you have questions for the cast, you know the drill. Feel free to post them in the chat and we'll address them as we can, or I'll bring them up so that we can talk about them on the actual stream. If you're not watching us live or you want to share us with your friends, thanks for catching us on video at our YouTube channel or on our podcast. Don't forget subscriptions or smashing the buttons on any of our platforms really help us out, as well as like comments and reviews and stuff. So thank you for doing those as well. And the social media information for the entire Nature Check cast is, as always, down in the reference section below. Now it's time for introductions. Hi, I'm Sheryl. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a PhD student studying ecology at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and when I'm not doing research, you can find me on YouTube as the Roving Naturalist. For the Burn campaign, I'm running the family called the Ripples, and my character's name is Islae. Next, we've got Jordan.
Hey, I'm Jordan. I had to actually check and make sure that I wasn't muted because normally I mute myself while you're talking and then have to unmute myself, but that didn't happen this time. Anyway, my pronouns are she, her. I'm a PhD student at Harvard and MIT studying brain stimulation, machine learning, and clinical anesthesia. When I'm not doing that or 8 billion other things, I also run a YouTube channel on artificial intelligence and algorithms. And for this campaign, I run the family, the Institute, and play the character Lissa, who I don't know how much time has passed in this campaign, but somehow she's not dead because she started middle-aged.
Pretty old by this point. Like 30-ish years, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't put a number on it.
Cool. Well, she's still trucking along, I guess.
I've said numbers, so somebody who was paying attention and added them up probably knows. Maybe 20. Anyhow.
She's only 20 years old. That's amazing.
We need a thing like
20 years
backwards.
She was a baby when we started.
Stats for us.
Why is it pronounced MIT instead of MIT?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
That's Xander's introduction. Go ahead, Xander. If you want to keep this endless Jordan. I think you were. Sorry.
I'm Xander. I'm the question guy. I'm currently writing a dissertation proposal, so my brain is a little bit low on juice today, but I'll do my best. And I play the Bowerbirds in this campaign. I'm watching an Oreo development.
That's about right, yeah.
Oh, my pronouns are he, him. What else do I normally say in the intro? Yeah, I'm a psychology graduate student.
Aren't we all?
We're so good at this.
And I want to know. I want to know everything.
This is your perennial reminder to log into Roll20. While Peter introduces himself.
I guess that's my cue to introduce
we're good.
myself. My name is Peter, as mentioned by Sheryl. My pronouns are he, him. I teach people about agriculture and entomology, which is the thing that I have a degree in. I play the family, the Shepherds of the Cave. And my current character's name is Essie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good because clearly our DM does not remember that, so I'm reintroducing.
That's why we do intros, because we forget who everyone is. Yeah.
No, I have very state-dependent memory, so like if once I'm reminded of what we're doing, I'm in a pretty good shape. But like going into every single episode, I have no idea what's happened.
Sometimes we even forget who ourselves are, so the intros are important.
Who am Peter?
Who am Peter?
Who am Peter?
And then, of course, there's our
who
game
am Jareth?
master.
Who am Jareth? Jareth am Jareth MGM, Jareth am physicist, Jareth am okay, I'm done with this. This is uncomfortable even for me. I use they pronouns, and I studied physics, and particular nuclear and astro. I think that's everything.
Is that what's on your shirt, physic?
Yeah, well, this is
Hey,
actually,
there we go. That answers my question.
Kind of, yeah. See,
You move up a
physics.
little bit, it says physics.
This was my these breakout U, M, and L if you solve for them as 3 separate letters, which is the school I went to, UMass Lowell. Go Riverhawks, I want to say. I cared
Is that a
so
real
much
bird?
about it. Maybe. Aren't you the animal expert? I think it's not.
Googling
I
Riverhawk.
think it's more like a class of bird than like
Riverhawk
a
Brewing,
specific.
Riverhawk Boats, Riverhawk
Are they all
Music
in Lowell?
Festival, Riverhawk
Are they in
Industrial
Lowell?
Supply in Florida. I don't know.
What the? Why are these Floridians chomping our flavor? Okay,
These
so
birds
before
are quite the entrepreneurs.
we are, we had a good hockey team. Anyhow, before we get started,
hockey team?
what? D1 hockey team.
Wow. I'm glad you got that
Oh,
fun
okay,
because I missed
sure.
it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that went. Vroom.
That's how I can tell I'm tired today. That was good.
Oh,
That
Wow.
was good.
Yeah.
That's rough. All right, well.
Welcome to Burn.
Welcome to Burn. We do have an announcement. What with the upswing of grad student season and all that, unfortunately, everyone's schedules are getting too busy. So we're hopefully finishing off strong on this one. We're gonna kind of try and bring it into a nice landing, and we'll see where that is. It's been like a month. I played KSP 2 weeks ago. That was fun. Thanks to everyone who hung out. We were doing kind of an expedition. Does anyone want to kind of give us a state of affairs?
If I remember
Just
from
like catch us up because it's been,
yeah, okay, so
maybe for me too, a week off that we took
okay, so we've now met people from
kind of
2 different
separating.
other subterranean cities, right? One group had New York
I gave them
accents,
some accents.
and the other group had Boston accents, but they're not
Hey.
geographically
They are not
close to
Boston
one
and
another.
New York.
Right.
It's just like happens to have been how these things played out
Right.
in the
It's
confines
based on the
of
one
1,000
DVD that
years.
their culture was left.
Exactly.
Right. Especially because they can't be from
Right.
Boston because you cannot walk from Boston to the equator, apparently, is what we learned last time. Look at all
Did we
these
figure out
details
if you
I'm
could
pulling
walk
out.
to New York from the equator?
I didn't try that one on Google Maps.
Or vice
Anyway,
versa?
I thought it was
Alright.
that Google Maps was just like, no. Like, it's not that, like, you geographically can't. Google
Right.
Maps just said no.
yes,
Yeah.
that.
Well, there's the Panama Canal. You'd have to figure that out.
Maybe it was because
But-
it was walking directions and it didn't account for the swimming part. Anyway, so we met those people and they, well, there was a bunch of like trading. Xander got some transportation tech and other stuff. And as a group, the 3 of us organizations or cities or whatever determined that the subterranean cities might be laid out in some sort of predictable grid. And so
Something. There was some scouting info. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I that's what I said. But the more I think about it, the worse it is.
Oh, okay. Well, scratch that then. But somehow we determined the probable location of another of these subterranean cities, and we decided to go on an expedition. So it's us and some of our followers, and then also the Bostonian people, because Jareth didn't want to do the New York accent anymore.
Yeah, like too many NPCs just gets in my own way.
And so we are on the expedition to go to this other place. Lissa was riding
preparing
on
yet,
a
or?
palanquin being
That's
carried
yes,
by
okay.
a whole bunch of the robot drones. And
A drone queen at this point.
yeah, right. And we had just gotten stuck in a blizzard, and we decided to wait out the blizzard and eat the extra food that the
Oh
shepherds
yeah,
had brought with
that's
them,
right. We
so that we
gotta
wouldn't
roll.
die
Yeah, okay.
trying to navigate through the blizzard.
Superb.
That's all I remember.
No, that's pretty. That sounds like I think most of the event. So good job remembering it. Cool. All right. Then it's a fresh morning. Set off. I think so. We rolled that last one was just getting kind of started with the pathfinding roll, if I remember correctly. I shouldn't have done that at the end of the session. That was a foolish mistake. But we did. We did. Sorry, I forgot to open up the source books. We're really in regular form here.
I mean, it's burn.
All right,
This is
here
what
we
it
go.
is.
In our burn groove. How we do.
Here we go. Okay, the moves. And we did, yeah, okay. You survived. It was good. You found a thing, but that wasn't too relevant, I remember. Okay. Sorry. So you're kind of heading southwards, if I recall. Kind of, these are, So you'd be, yeah, okay. Heading southwards towards where you believe a second or fourth one of these cities is. I think then since Peter rolled so good, I'm just looking at some real good rolls here from last time. That we can probably get you guys to the elevator, and breaking into the city is the more exciting part of this, is it not?
Ooh, we're breaking in?
Right?
Breaking in.
Well,
Whoa.
I'm not opening any
certainly.
doors.
Smart.
We're just gonna
No,
stand
so
up here with our arms
what you
crossed.
find is a fairly familiar at this point, kind of looks roughly like that sort of elevator base that you guys had. They were all done from a common design. I think that at that point, there, it was a big humanity spanning project. So
Does your door
There was a
policy
lot
also
of-
apply to things like beaded curtains,
oh, does it?
like room separators, or like just doors?
What if it's like a screen door? Anyhow. Make a window. All right.
Nice.
Sorry.
Jordan is
So,
refusing
yeah,
to
you-
answer.
Yep.
Fair. And I guess before telling you that it's locked, do you want to try something? Because it is, in fact, dang it, I gave it away.
I checked for traps.
It's locked.
Way to really build the suspense there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I just
Before I
was
tell
like,
you that it's locked, would you like to try to open the
It
door?
was
No,
like-
I'm good.
you should have. I should have waited until you attempted to open it, but like I already let that.
As he
cat out of
walks
the
up and
bag,
like
you know?
jiggles the handle really hard back and forth, just in case it's like frozen.
Give me a diffuse thing with force or whatever the. God, I should know.
If it's
I
frozen,
should really
you can
know
blow
by
on
this.
it.
Can you?
Yeah, I used to have to do that on the door lock on
Nintendo?
on my car some mornings when I was parked
That's a
on
Midwest
campus.
problem.
No, and when I grew up in Pennsylvania, I was on campus and would have to like get in my car early to drive over the mountain to the place where my class was. Long story.
Okay.
But sometimes
No, this is relevant.
in January,
I
like
think.
the lock on my car door, because I didn't have a boop boop, right? So I had to like physically unlock the car door. And
Yep.
sometimes it would be frozen closed, so then I would have to like put my face against the car door and blow on it to defrost the lock.
Fair enough, Peter. If you'd like to try that. Oh, you failed. Okay.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, it's locked. So I guess I feel like now is when I should have introduced that that it is in fact. So kind of what you find is that it seemed to be shut down. It's not just like locked in the way that you would if you were going
Out for candy.
out for whatever. It seems like there's no power running through it that you can tell. Like there's you can kind of glance in a window and spot the functioning giant elevator that the heat thing is more or less here to house. But like there's no lights. There doesn't seem to be power attached to it. None of those fancy things.
Okay, so is this
Our de facto
Space.
Halloween episode, and therefore we should knock and say trick or treat? Yes. I see where you're going with this.
Well, Qui-Gon Bowers said he was calling it now. It's going to be some kind of necropolis, so maybe it is a Halloween episode.
Maybe. I had
So-
a different plan, but we can always.
Yeah. It is now. Roll for initiative.
I don't have initiative.
I know.
You do all the rolling.
It's our 13th episode, the last episode for now. None of us understands the game system.
No. I I do intend to leave it somewhere where if our schedules
Right,
should have been back then, but what the hell? I'll announce this. We're hopefully kind of leaving it somewhere semi-ambiguous such that it could theoretically be picked up. We'll see what's what, but
When we
even
come
if
back,
all
it'll
of
just-
us die, conceivably we could
That's
have new
true,
characters for our
that's true.
families, right?
when
I'll
we
just
come
be
back,
players.
the game system will have
It'll
been
just be me and
inexplicably
my
changed.
dolls.
God, I was
to
going to
Pathfinder.
ask something and now I've completely forgotten.
The door, the elevator, is this like?
Yes, I was going to ask, have we encountered people from this? This is one of the...
No, this is distinctly another one.
Okay.
The ones I think probably in the kind of intervening months, some of you, not you personally, but your agents have probably, like, been involved in, like, going out and trading with them, not just them coming to you. And so as such, they and your friendly Bostonian companions could be like, yeah, this isn't really, damn it, I've lost it. I grew up with it and I've lost it.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Just say wicked a
But
few times.
it's a
you'll
very
get it back.
standard design. Yeah,
Lobster.
maybe. Wicked.
Lobster.
No, that's not it. Lobster's I mean, it's part of that, but like if I was saying lobster, I'd be trying to get that main. Wicked is how I get into my Boston. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. Wicked. Yeah, so this elevator is the same sort of design that you'd have. Kid. Like they're all the same. Anywho.
So we have no reason to believe that there are any people inside this.
Correct.
Okay.
I think in part we're hoping, or they were. I can't speak to your personal hopes here, but that this is already a disappointment as such. But
wow, now you
not a
can't
huge
speak
one
to our
yet.
hopes, but you can speak to our disappointments.
To
Is that what
your
you're saying?
friends. Your friend. Oh, damn.
Essie is pumped about this locked
Wicked
door.
sucks.
She has not encountered a locked door that mangled her giant beloved Scarab Beetle in the past. This is the first locked door she has ever encountered. She's very excited about it.
I should.
We don't have locked doors and.
I mean, I'm sure the Institute does.
Well, she lives
yes, we
in
do.
Grew
an
up in
she
the
lives in an
farm.
anarchist commune. There are no
Yeah.
locked doors.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's no personal property.
You just
Like
sleep
it's
wherever
just,
you want. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I will say that like this is kind of a powered hash door rather than just like closet door. You could probably, for instance, break in through a window and get people in, but like getting kind of gear in wouldn't work that way. And there are likewise kind of some like side exits because that would be wild too. And I think if you want to go around and try those, you could. I won't tell you if they're locked or not yet. How about that?
Ooh,
I know.
attention.
Oh man, I'm learning.
I check for traps.
13 episodes in, we're learning. Would Islae like to do that?
I was completely kidding. If there are
Not
traps,
traps,
I will
but
check
go
for
around
them.
and
I
check
cast
the
detect
extra.
magic.
Is that a steel roll or a
Zones
force roll?
I just want to know if she does. We're not rolling
Sure.
things yet.
Yeah, I'll go check
Okay,
the
then
other
yeah,
doors.
you can find roughly. I think getting people in isn't your main issue. It's that the gear that goes like 10 miles down into the actual city is non-powered, and likewise the front door that like lets you get cargo in and down is unpowered.
Right. Okay. So there's this like big, like almost like a garage
We have-
door-y thing that
Yeah,
we would have to
I'm
get
thinking
open to
kinda
get our
like-
gear onto the platform of the elevator, but then the elevator
like
doesn't
what-
have power to go down.
Right. This station seems unpowered.
If only we had some kind of an elevator operator, but as far as I know, no such faction exists.
Oh, lass. No, who has? Someone has some strings on. No, they're not strings in this game. Treaty, right? Let me find your treaties.
I don't have treaty on the
I think
elevator operators.
it-
I think they have treaty on
no,
Peter
Peter
because
lost.
yeah.
Peter was a dick.
What a shocker for me in this game.
It's okay. That guy's dead now, but like you're still
You're
that
turning over a new
resentment
dung
is still
beetle. Don't
fresh.
worry about it.
Turning over a new dung beetle.
Well,
God bless.
I mean, in the last few
There are some
episodes-
people from that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
he established that plant-based food was gross, so it couldn't have been turning over a new leaf because those are heinous.
Well, a new spore?
Mm.
A new pseudopod?
Did
I don't know what
Spore
we're doing
make you
here.
think of zombies, Jordan?
No, just didn't
It wasn't the right.
wasn't into it.
Valid. You're so valid.
Turning
So
over
none
a new
of you-
phallus?
Have treaty. Maybe.
That was Thallus with the TH, right?
It was with a TH, you are correct.
Okay, just making sure that
I
was
tried to emphasize it.
So why don't somebody give me a plus sway roll to do this interpersonally rather than at a treaty level? If you want to ask. Well, hang on. No, they have shared goals. That's ridiculous.
Partial
but-
success.
All right, excellent, good work. So Ganymede. I think. Let me go look. We'll call it diffuse. So right now, Ganymede, you go over and kind of in with them. You're like a scout, so style. And so kind
Need
of
to make sure that this
around.
place isn't a threat.
Yeah, I think that's part of what you're doing, and kind of will bringing in the qualified repair people who are in fact the elevator operators.
They've got the right certifications, certificates.
Exactly. They've got that C1S. I'm making up. Anyway,
They've got that weird wrench that's like a hexagon.
but like also that you could brain someone with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's their primary close range weapon because
Quantum spanner.
A la Ratchet and Clank.
It's honestly the most. It's in so many things. They did not, to my knowledge, invent it. They were leaning on a well-developed trope at that point. But I am just in Dark Cloud. Not that I think that invented it either, but Dark Cloud 2, the guy's thing was a wrench, and I'm pretty. No, that might have been. This does not matter. I like it when you have a wrench as a weapon. That makes me happy. That's all I'm trying to say right here and right now, and that's what these folks do.
Have I showed you guys my giant wrench?
Oh my god.
Go get your
Peter.
giant wrench. I will describe the problems with this elevator while you
Literally
do.
go on a tangent
It's
I
mostly
could not tell whether that was a
Power.
genuine comment or not. I was like 80% sure he was joking. I guess we're about to find out.
80% sure.
So roughly speaking, these elevators, right? Like these cities have largely been powered by nuclear generators. Yours and the other ones, until yours went foul thanks to someone's robots. Mine.
So if we go in here, our teeth might melt because there may have been a nuclear meltdown.
It's yeah.
We have like a radiation detector, a Geiger, counter.
A Geiger-Müller counter.
Yes, of course, a Geiger-Müller counter. I was just abbreviating.
I don't
so
know
didn't
what
wanna-
that. Yeah, I mean that is the abbreviation. Why it's that. Anyway, I don't know if that's actually a specific sort. I'm doing a bit of personal research on the topic and just starting to learn. Anywho, neither here nor is it there. Your Geiger counters do not click more than usual. Although I will say that usual. That is a very giant wrench, Peter.
Stunned silence.
Is that for
I
like
was kind of looking down and then.
It's not for anything. It's
No,
really
it's,
just
it's like for bridges or
That's-
something, right? It's got to be for something like that.
Is it for,
For
something,
whatever.
Peter?
It's for things that are this big.
I appreciate
Yes.
that not only is that a good melee weapon, it's a reach weapon. Like you
Huh.
have
Yeah.
you threaten squares within 10 feet of yourself. Like
Oh
no
yeah,
joke.
yeah, but it requires a strength of like 18 to wield.
Oh, not that he's like pumping up his ability scores or anything.
Yeah.
Or
No, I'm
AG
not claiming to be able to wield it. Only carry it around.
That's a whole different ball game, is it not? That's why proficiency is important if we were playing D&D, which we're
Yeah, I am
We
not
don't have
proficient in
proficiency
that wrench.
Well, I guess we kind of have proficiency in my version. Anyway, it's different.
fascinating. Anyway,
Homebrew.
No, in 3.5, proficient means something different than
Was
it
it
means
different?
in 5th
Yeah.
edition.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Five's just oh god.
Oh,
a
right.
lot of
You're my
3.5,
friend who's
not a lot
played
of
both. Anyway.
I've played so many. I've actually only played 3 editions.
I've got
I
the
also
rulebooks for
played
2nd edition if you guys want to give that a shot. But I don't
No.
understand it.
Advanced Dungeons and
No.
Dragons. I did
Let's
play
not
that
play
one.
AD&D.
Oh, but you sure you kids don't want to learn about 2-hit armor class 0?
I'm good.
All right.
Pardon me, sir. May I borrow your Thaco?
Shit's out of power. The power's off. Like, you guys have kind of figured out, worked through alternate powers, and there's backup powers, but those seem to have, in this case, been deliberately shut down.
If only we had a team of hamsters that could work together and be heroes to run on enough
Oh.
generators. I'm harking back to Cheryl's mention of hamster heroes.
That
No, I
wasn't
think
on
You were
that's
your
good
talking to my
now.
robots.
Oh, the robot.
Oh, there we go.
Mm.
You
Well,
just plug
up
one
to
of
it,
those
Julie.
straight. They have little batteries, right?
Got
Yeah,
little-
they have some sort of self-contained power unit.
They've got lightning cables, and you just plug them into the elevator.
They have MagSafe.
I don't know that they have, right? Like, they can kind of go weeks on end being tiny little robots wandering around. It takes a lot more energy to move a giant
Yeah.
elevator shaft. I'm not sure they quite have that much spare power.
Can
I
I
think-
send one over to try to like
Yes.
debug it?
Um,
Like, can the power be turned on? Do you recognize this technology? I don't know.
yeah. Why don't
What
you
kind of roll
give
is
me
that?
that lore roll? That's technology, baby. Sorry to call you baby. I didn't mean it.
It's okay.
You are the youngest, though, so it's somewhat. Anyway, that's
Marshall.
partial success. Okay. So, what do you? The power part of it is down the shaft. It kind of can run from stores up here, but like the main batteries and the main transformers and all that are downstairs. Up here there's like, I think
Mostly Decepticons. Sorry. Low-hanging fruit.
Fair.
Transformers are downstairs. The Decepticons, those guys are upstairs.
Decepticons are also transformers. Now hang on.
Okay. I accept.
You're thinking Autobots. If I'd said Auto,
Fair.
That's
Fair.
who
It was
even-
low-hanging fruit. I'm sorry. I almost didn't go for it.
Gundams are upstairs.
Xander,
That's
I can't
another
believe you
sort of-
did it. I can't believe you did perfectly calibrate every aspect of that joke to make it land exactly.
in real
Disappointed.
time.
It's definitely the first time that's ever happened on Burn.
Yep.
To you specific. So Jordan, what are you kind of telling them to do? Because like they're your friends and they'll listen to you. Is kind of you've worked through to that point.
I want them to go down the elevator shaft and turn on the thing.
Hell yeah. Okay. So right, they're small. It definitely takes some time. Let me just look at the diffuse consequences. I don't know that diffuse is exactly right here, so let's just leave it as a floating lore roll, because I could do that, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's true or not.
It's your game.
Should learn the
You're the
rule.
game master. You can do that.
Also, we
That's
don't
true.
want to defuse it. We want to power it.
Yeah, well.
You could add a lobster monster into the
diffuse it
game
in-
right
We're not
now.
adding monsters to this game.
I could though, if I wanted. I already had
Yes.
panther monsters.
Yeah, those leopard things that we fought
So
were
it-
very classic monsters.
I know.
takes-
I meant the Twitch watch points rewards. We're not using those to add monsters to burn.
Ah. Well,
Anyway.
Okay. Here's what I think you can get from it. It takes a couple hours for it to go down the shaft and back, climb back up.
A couple hours. Jesus.
Well,
How
that's
big is this building?
They come back and we
couple
are frozen
miles.
to
They're
death.
very long. Like you're hiding deep in the earth because it's warmer there. Mostly, is what I figured, and what most speculation on the topic says. Anyhow, sorry, I'm good. But yeah, like couple miles worth of shaft is what we're talking here. So ours does not feel out of the question to me. I think what it can come back with is like it'll kind of with its like cool little camera-ized projectile hollow projection of kind of the problem area, but it has no idea how to come up with solutions to. But it can go and implement them for you guys, so you kind of have long-range tools after a couple hours coming online.
Wait,
so
zoom in on that. Enhance. Enhance.
Exactly. I mean, the problem here is incredibly obvious. Looking at it though, which is to say that somebody has switched the switches from on to off. So I bet you guys can solve this one.
What if? Stay with me here.
Go
We
on.
flip
Oh,
the
God.
switches
Mm-hmm.
back
Mm-hmm.
on.
You said you always start with your crazy idea, so now let's hear the not crazy idea.
Let's
Mhm.
leave.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what this roughly does, because like you rolled a partial success. It takes like a while, especially I think if you had rolled a full success, they could have done it on their own. That's not it, but like it takes a while. I think you guys have to kind of move your move the convoy kind of into the base before it's wears up or anything, because it's starting to get dark and cold out again, and it's like this convenient building. So I don't mean to project here, but certainly your companions are like, let's start moving inside. It's getting cold, it's getting dark out. As the power comes back on. It just seems to be the backup power available, which means the elevator will work, but the lights are kind of minimal.
Okay.
There's this like kind of airplane emergency lighting, more dots for guidance than really the ability to show you. Sheryl, what are you good? What disappeared?
Sorry, my dog was losing her shit about something, and I was like, I need to mute myself so the stream doesn't hear all the chaos that's happening.
Oh, fantastic. My cats keep on like thinking about poking their heads in as I'm recording in the closet. But then they're just, no.
Well, she was under the desk, and also there's a hardwood floor in here, so when she got up, there was lots of like scrabbling sounds on the floor, and also she shook the entire desk, so like...
Good kitty.
I did see that. I was
Yeah.
just curious. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you can.
Small earthquake.
Cats are the best part of any Zoom call.
That
It's
wasn't
true.
the cat.
That was pets.
Well, then I got lost at some
Fine.
point in
Cats
this
are just
conversation.
dogs are just cats, anyways.
Have you considered that perhaps your
All
dog is just a
four-legged
big cat?
animals are cats. If it's got four legs, it's a cat. Peter, you have a comment?
Temple Grandin does talk about how when she was younger, Temple Grandin, the famous animal behavior scientist, does talk about when she was younger, she just thought that it was different sizes of the same animal, that cats were small and dogs were large.
See? It's almost, especially, cats are fairly similar, but there's so much variation in dogs that, like,
I was gonna say
It's
she must have
because-
never seen a
almost
chihuahua.
easily. Yeah.
If I were an artificial intelligence classifier, I would just guess cat every time. That's all I'm saying.
So
I'm
so dogs are really phenotypically plastic. There's a lot of they can handle a lot of inbreeding, whereas cats cannot. They have a lot of deleterious genes. So if you get like a weird trait in a cat, so if you get a weird trait in a dog and you're like, oh, this would be a cool new breed of dog, you just like start inbreeding them.
That's true.
like
I do know.
like
So if we want
real
more-
weird inbreeding that most people would find to be uncomfortable, right? Like mating like
True.
offspring with parents. But with a cat, if you do that, just all the kittens are stillborn. So so that's why
the story had a sad ending.
Yeah.
And
my
unfortunately,
cats
Pistachio the green puppy. That's not a genetic develop. You guys don't know about Pistachio the green puppy? Okay, then this comment isn't going to.
I've seen a green cat once, not in real life, but on the internet because it had gotten into some dye.
That is basically what happened to Pistachio the green
Excellent.
puppy. It ended up getting dyed green, and then it went all over the internet. So there's a bunch of news articles about it, and it was on Stephen Colbert or one of those shows. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Why
called
are
me into
you?
her office, and she was like, "A green puppy was born in Italy," but because
Surely.
it wasn't a genetic thing, so you couldn't just make a whole line of green puppies, unfortunately.
Yeah, dye is not generally a genetic thing.
Generally not.
As apparently the animal person here, is that what?
I'm a physicist. That's it could be anything bigger than
As a biologist, dyeing an animal does not change its DNA usually. Depending on the dye, though, some of them are carcinogenic or mutagenic.
So there's hope.
Yeah, just keep trying.
or radioactive.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess is that mutagenic?
Yeah. What, radiation?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What I mean is,
if it causes mutations, it's mutagenic.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Cool. Sorry, that's what I was trying to. Or if there was some other story. Anywho, neat. So yeah, you can get backup power online and get the elevator going. There's some whirring sounds. I wasn't as good as I wanted them to be. If I'm being honest, I was hoping to
You could try again.
I can pay for the reroll with the points. Second chance.
That sounds like drag racing.
Yeah, really. See, that second tape didn't help. I just don't have them in me.
I feel like it's like an old freight elevator, right? Where it's just like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking more kind of the sort of generators whirring to life in a sci-fi kind of like those big magnets spinning up.
Thinking more turbo.
Also
lift.
in real life.
Anybody have a theremin?
Oh yeah, okay.
I have a big wrench. All right, I don't have a theremin.
You've already done your prop demo for the day.
Well, one of them at least.
Of all of us in this call, I would expect Xander most likely to have a theremin.
I have a saxophone playing neighbor who I think Sheryl might know this already. They made it to the 12th note of Pink Panther the other day, and I was very proud of them because they only had previously made it to the 10th note.
Oh, that's two.
Somebody picked up a quarantine hobby.
I mean,
they couldn't get to the da-da.
No, they trailed off.
Oh, they're working. Okay, Sheryl.
I got a recording.
Stop being so
I got
judgy.
a
What
recording
the
of it,
hell?
though, so I can play it for you.
Please don't.
Fair. So yeah, you can get the elevator working. Who wants to go down? Who wants to stay up? Who wants to do what?
I'm down to go down.
I'm down to also go down.
Okay, cool.
Everyone in.
Because we didn't want to split the party.
To guard, but they're not you. So whatever happens to them, we'll backfill it if it comes up.
Nameless NPCs. Keep watch.
Maybe. Yeah, it never hurt.
Are we bringing any grad students?
There's definitely enough room to bring a fair amount of people.
Meat shields.
Who do you want to bring? Do the grad students go? Listen.
Sure.
Nice. Anyone else have followers?
I know there was Rod. Who are the other two?
The octopus is coming.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh no, it's got to be different grad students at this point. That was 12 years ago.
If they haven't graduated by
that
now,
they
you're the worst
have their
advisor
PhD.
ever.
Yeah.
Could be postdocs.
Hey.
Assistant
It's not like
professors.
the other cities.
Even if they are postdocs, that's still a while.
Postdocs then.
That's why I went on to assistant.
That the pyramid scheme has been extended such that now there are postdocs.
God.
I suppose there
They're just docs.
would be be a limited number of faculty positions at the institute, right? Which is
especially because Lissa won't die.
It's an IRL problem. Also in the game, people don't retire; they just hang on to their offices and
Yeah, I'm an
Carried
emeritus
around on
professor now.
thrones by their robot minions.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, my grandpa was emeritus for a while, which makes sense.
Was he ever carried around by
He's
on a
done.
throne by his robot minions, though? Is the real question.
I never saw it, but maybe to answer your question, I'm pretty sure he would have mentioned it at some point. He did destroy 3 moon rocks though.
wow.
For science, because he was
If it was for science, it's fine.
cosmologist.
It's acceptable.
He actually, this is a brief aside, but I love it about him is
Wait, in this show?
yeah, I know, right? He got, I think, from some of the samples from Apollo 11, but because his work involved destroying them, basically he was looking for cosmic ray penetration and
Must be a weird feeling.
isotope ratios.
I'm destroying chunks
Right.
of the moon. Wow.
Well, what it was that like he very specifically, I think, with a dental drill.
That's how I would introduce myself at parties. Hey, I destroy chunks of the moon. That's my job.
I still talk about, but he got the second largest one, I think, from one of the Apollos, I think 11, because he didn't want the notoriety that would go with destroying the largest sample, but the second largest one, he needed
because that would be the moon itself.
And, well, that we brought back. They brought back quite a
gotcha,
few
gotcha.
rocks.
I was going to say the largest sample of moon rock is in fact the moon.
And then we steal the moon.
I rewatched that with Vanessa recently.
Well, there you go. I like that your grandfather has destroyed more moon rocks than I will probably ever touch. That's fun. Like,
Yeah, I think I've touched 2. None of those, obviously, they got destroyed before I was born.
Right.
But I've been around some samples. I know some stuff. But yeah,
While we're in the elevator, I like to imagine we're all just like standing there quietly, like awkwardly, not sure what direction to face, because we don't know which way the door is going to open when we get to the bottom.
There's music playing.
Is
There's a
there?
sign
Who's
up
playing
that
it?
says like emergency fire crew, insert key, twist counterclockwise, and then there's a
Wait,
sign
who's
next
playing
to it
the
that
music,
says
Peter?
weight capacity 480 pounds or something.
it's recorded.
I figured it was
music.
just playing over the
Yeah.
intercom. Like
Not
music.
on backup power.
Music.
Oh yeah, no, like the backup power was like priority.
Was to make the
Music?
Yeah.
Functioning elevator.
Oh,
Lights.
the music comes first.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
pitch dark, but the music is playing.
Yeah.
But the music would play if you just like got in the elevator, even if the elevator wasn't ready to start.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
You just
if
listen
this
to
was-
the girl from Ipanema forever.
Oh no.
If
Maybe
this
we could
is
put up
a
poll in the chat to see what the music is. I personally vote the Pink Panther theme.
Ooh.
Can't
could be
imagine
the-
why.
It's been on my mind lately for some reason.
if this is a North Carolina elevator, there is a little plaque signed by Sherry Berry, the Commissioner of Labor, inside of it.
Oh yeah,
Berry.
Massachusetts had those, except obviously not that specific individual, because
That was
How
such a
states work.
weirdly specific fun fact.
If
Yeah,
any
that's
of our
a fun
listeners are
name,
from
I
North
get it.
Carolina, they're gonna think that is fucking hilarious. Okay, it's
yeah.
a real deep cut for
regional
North
joke.
Carolina.
North Carolina audience members, sound off in the
Shout
chat
out.
or the comment section or whatever.
Yeah,
hang
they
on.
they mostly listen to the podcast. They told me. They,
Can I get a Boston?
You know all
Alright,
of them
whatever.
because there are only 4 people in North Carolina.
Mhm.
Wow.
All
Why
the
do they
kids
have
in the
so
next
many
holler
electoral
over.
votes?
What?
Then why do they have so many electoral votes if there's only 4?
I don't
There's
think
gotta
we
be
have
at
time
least
to get
3
into
people.
that.
Yeah, that's
Tonight on Bird,
7,
debated the Electoral College.
Because the founding
There's
fathers
bad.
had
I
a
think it's
really
bad.
bad concept of how voting should work.
So while you guys are riding down the elevator, you have a long, intricate discussion about the details of electoral
2020
politics
election.
vis-a-vis the. Yeah, you're like, man,
It's a history
remember that
lesson.
shit? It was
Remember
wild.
how that turned out? That was what a twist at the end.
Who could have
Oh,
seen it
geez.
coming?
Why would you say
No.
that into the universe?
It all came down
Look
to
at everyone
Omaha
else
Don't
has-
Press.
manifest that.
We're not putting it out there
No
first.
twist.
Look, everybody. I'm
Maybe
not,
we're talking
I'm
about the
not
election because it went completely according to plan. The least interesting election in American history.
We're like, wow.
be like,
At
yeah,
one-
remember that huge build up to like something crazy and then just nothing happened.
No. Anyway, let's.
I
So
hope
yeah,
it's
it was.
not nothing. If nothing happens, we're
It's
also
a
in
cool
trouble.
elevator ride, and you guys.
Well, what happened is what caused us to be
Yes.
where we are now. Yeah.
Exactly.
The
that's-
election of
The
2020 is why
catastrophic
the
event.
sun
It's
went
the final
away.
episode. We could figure that out today.
I was gonna save that mystery, because honestly, can I be honest to the stream? I didn't solve it. Like, what the fuck? It's a star disappearing. You guys aren't gonna interact with a star.
I
I
mean,
still
might
think
solve
that
it later
depends
if
on
we
how
do.
many ages we get through. We could
Oh,
eventually,
yeah, no,
like,
listen.
reinvent space travel, right?
It was the sort of thing that I was putting off solving because it wasn't gonna come up soon, more than something I was never gonna solve. But like,
I still think the plot twist at the end of today's episode is that another sun appears. That's when things get really crazy.
Sun 2.
They just keep it's
personal.
The
You know, it's-
sequel.
you draw a graph and it's
sun
like
with an
number
O.
of suns that have appeared in the sky. It's just a linear relationship. It just keeps going.
So far, it is.
Every 20 years, another sun
I'm very
appears.
jealous of you, Peter.
With my cat, my lap cat.
Yeah, my cat like refuses to sit on my lap. Like, loves to get pet, but is not willing to cooperate with me on it. Anyway,
Sabrina refuses to get out of my lap most of the time.
It's mine.
Fair.
Mine is only an opt-in
Are we
situation.
at the bottom of the elevator yet?
yes,
Yeah.
you are at the bottom of the elevator.
It was like 10 miles deep. There's no way we're there yet.
No, you are. I
I
summed
demand
up
the
a lot of
immersive
that
role
discussion.
playing that I came here for.
We literally took a long rest
bad,
on the
you
elevator
can't
on the
get
way
it.
down.
Yeah, you camp here, make for the bottom at dawn.
Okay.
You play the alphabet game, staring at the elevator. Oh, there's an A.
Somebody
I
has to
spy
pee.
with my little eye something beginning with the letter E.
It's Essie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was elevator.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you play some compelling games. What you find at the bottom is much like this elevator, an extremely underlit. The layout isn't like all that dissimilar to yours. Yeah, Sheryl, you are definitely in a better position for this extremely underlit. It's still kind of dotted line.
The
But it
ripples
looks
almost
almost
have
like
low light vision.
almost like above at night, where just like thousands and thousands of tiny dots, but like none of the kind of major lighting in windows or anything like that that indicates occupation. It seems neat. You can kind of identify the regions look very similar to kind of like, you can look instantly and know, that's where the nuclear reactor was. That's where they probably don't call it the Institute, but they're kind of academy of whatever. Oh yeah, there we go. Academy. There it is.
So the
The
basic original plan or layout
is
is
pretty,
very the same. All right, so these were all like
It's been
designed
kind
and
of
built by the same.
simultaneously.
Organization. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we put some fun, quirky personal touches in them.
I was just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say, do you remember that "Hang in There" poster that we stole from the slaughterhouse? I was just gonna say, let's put up some of those posters, make it a little more homey. It's a bit drab down here.
It is a bit dry. What the lights are very kind of, if you take a moment, very pretty. If you think I think they are, just as the person thinking about them. But maybe you disagree. But yeah, I think they could definitely stand with the poster. I'm not saying it couldn't like use a hang in there poster. It's just got a nice kind of beauty to the emptiness, sort of.
That's a mood. Beauty to the emptiness.
Well, that's what being an astronomer is all about, if I may be so forthright.
That's true. All right,
There's the arrays.
Ganymede's gonna scout a little bit, just enough that I can still see my fellow travelers, though.
Okay.
I'll back
I
you
go as
up.
far as I can without losing sight of my friendos.
Doing anything like, I'm not saying you don't have flashlights. Are you using them?
I'm gonna try to do what that
Yeah.
robot did and like come back to them and like project from my face like a 3D
Okay.
representation of what I saw.
Give me a lore roll. Actually, first give me a excellent.
As close as I
Wow.
can to that.
Wow.
All right, give me a
While still being
sway
human.
roll now to see how well you do the scouting, because you do a very good projection of whatever you find.
Which
With your
one am I
10.
rolling for scouting?
I sway or steal, whichever was better. I did not
my
figure out what the
steal-
difference was, and
My
I'm not
steel's
about
better. Partial
Sweet.
success.
Jesus. Islae, are you helping? Do you want to help?
Yeah, I said I was backing him up, so I will help with the steel roll. I'm not going to help with the projection.
No, of course not. That's
God damn it!
this is the scouting. Okay, well then you so
I unhelped.
no, well, yes.
No, well,
Yes,
yes.
well, no. Does that lower me down to a 7? I can't
They
remember how that works.
fail.
Oops.
Yeah, if they fail, your result drops to a 6-, and they share in the consequences. Okay.
Sorry.
Wow,
no,
this scouting
that's-
mission's going really well.
So, so what are you scouting for? Kind of to just get a lay of the land? Like you kind of...
Well, I guess my real
Here's what-
question is,
yeah.
how much does this place resemble that other place that I've been? Because if it is like a carbon copy, then that tells us a lot, right? So I'm going to look around and see how much this place reminds me of that other place. Ganymede is known for ducking in and out of like crevices and exploring different areas. I can't remember the name of his ability. Rune survivor or whatever. So he often explores runes. Is this a layout that I'm familiar with? And does that tell me anything about where we should explore next?
So yes and no. Kind of like Sheryl said, this is clearly a very similar basic design. Kind of where the buildings are, broadly speaking, is almost identical because like these I think they kind of had to hollow out these spheres anyways, so once you're controlling the shape, you're controlling the shape. Not even spheres, they're probably hemispheres, because like what the fuck am I talking about? Spheres. Anyhow, maybe they do a little bit of kind of a divoted indent though, just to like give them kind of
Drainage?
a theater, and drainage.
Amphitheater, is that what you were thinking of?
Sort of amphitheater kind of feel in certain areas, plus that can kind of tear inwards a little bit in ways that are good for design. Anywho, kind of make so like those big things are all the same. Like Sheryl said, a lot of these logistics are very different. There's one thing you definitely notice is that this place seems to be the overgrown with kind of a greenish moss. Like either it's been abandoned a while or this moss grows way quicker than most moss, I guess, is the boring story here. But
moss,
like,
huh? That's pretty interesting.
moss.
I will definitely tell.
You can't, because here's the consequence for you all rolling so bad is that the two of you
we get eaten by the moss.
No.
Oh.
You get like lost is the problem. There's a lot of things that are similar but equally like the buildings have been decorated differently. When they redesigned corridors, those didn't go the way that you thought you did. So you're kind of in like go in, I think, to the big equivalent to the Bowerbirds headquarters, the sort of authority center of whatever. And you thought you knew your way around, but you kind of end up in a corridor that is entirely foreign to you. Do you want to try and undo the situation? What are you two doing in the meantime, though, before we do that? Peter and Jordan, are you kind of waiting patiently? If so, that's fine, and we can keep on going in. I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything contemporaneous.
That was a good word.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think waiting.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You've sent out a scouting party. So yeah, Jordan, you're lost. Not Jordan, I'm sorry. Xander, you're lost. Jordan, you know exactly where you are. It's at the bottom of the elevator. Xander, though, you don't know where you are.
How am I lost?
The robots just started carrying you off into the city.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
We found the mother computer again.
Oh no.
Mother computer too. This time it's personal. No.
Oh, geez.
You're not allowed to use the same joke twice in one stream.
This time it's personal?
Yeah, you said that about the sun too, like 10 minutes ago.
Oh. In this stream?
Yes.
Good for me.
I'm going to start using my many knives
I
to...
am entirely
Are you like leaving breadcrumbs? I love this idea.
Yeah, I have many knives.
many knives?
I wasn't going to leave the knives. I was going to leave marks in the moss behind. I assume it doesn't grow so quickly that they'll disappear immediately.
Do you
Unless
watch
you
it
think
for
the
a few
moss is going
seconds
to
to
like
double check?
attack me if I poke it.
Like, do you kind of score into it to kind of like just make a big X? I've been this way, kind of on your right or whatever.
I carve. Ganymede was here.
That sounds exhausting. But
Yeah,
fair enough.
that's
Every
probably
like,
a
20 feet.
Ever.
Every 20 feet. So do you watch it to like make sure it doesn't grow back in, or like do you just like carve it in? Okay, no then.
That question was bad. That was a bad
Well,
question.
I want to listen. Xander was saying a thing, and I wanted to see what his assumptions were based on, and you know what I mean. Like, if you're gonna make assumptions at me, I have to like try and understand them.
Can I roll with advantage, a steel roll, to make my way back to the base of the elevator since I'm marking my way?
So
Sounds like a no.
you've been marking that your way.
Well, I
Here's what
started
you're-
now that I'm lost.
Now that you're, it's gonna be tough to follow that back, isn't it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But at least I won't go in circles. Or at
Right,
least
like
I'll
we'll
know
know
if I'm going in
we'll
circles.
know where we shouldn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think steel was, again, I don't remember if that's the right one for scouting, but it's the one we're doing now. So yeah, why don't so what I think more is like the basement, right? More than because like there are underground tunnels that connect some of the major buildings, and the Bowerbirds' headquarters, which is here, a different thing. I said authority center, and I guess we're doing that, but that sounds terrible. That sounds truly terrible. I don't like that at all. But like it kind of connects to they're underground tunnels, and you got lost in them is what I'm trying to say.
It is surprising that I got
roll
lost,
to
considering I said I
unlost.
was only going to go so far that I could still see my friends at the bottom of the elevator. But I wouldn't put it
You
past
got
me.
distracted.
Yeah, Ganymede is
Hang
pretty
on.
chaotic.
Ganymede is very distractible, and I think that's what it is Cheryl's assistance, kind of like the two of you
13.
kind of distracted each
And that's
other
without
more
advantage.
than you meant to, kind of on the assumption that
Wow,
it would be
double
identical
sixes.
instead of not
Nice.
identical. All right.
I just like burst out of the moss next to the elevator. I'm back.
More twigs in your hair.
Yeah.
Did you miss
so
me?
since
Be honest. I'm back.
You got a total success. I think, given that I did pull you a bit further afield scouting than you did say, but we're doing it. It's too late. I'm not taking back that much stuff. So I think you can, it takes you a little while. And the one thing you do notice is the question that Sheryl thought was leading was in fact leading, is that your marks seem to only last about 5 to 10 minutes. Right? You kind of go down a dead end and turn around, and you put a mark here, but it's kind of already started to grow back in with this moss.
That doesn't seem great.
That's okay. It might be okay. It might not be okay.
I report my findings back to the group.
And yeah, so
And I already rolled a
come
10
out.
to do that.
Right. That's yes. And you project it out of your face.
Well,
Only,
I can get.
because you're not a lizard or anything, you just kind of, or a robot, you kind of squirt blood like a lizard. I got the things that I was saying mixed
I was
up,
like,
and it went
Oh,
so
yeah,
lizards
bad.
can
that would have
project
been good.
holograms? Yeah.
That's what I was trying to.
Oh yeah,
was
everybody
thinking
knows
with
that, Sheryl. Come on.
You can't
call
you're
yourself
not
a
robot,
biologist?
You can't project holograms, so you just project blood, but it does form out kind of a crude map on the ground, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh,
the rest of you are
science
facts
today.
on this program.
There's a lot of science every day. We're more science than plot, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, random
I-
science tangents.
Sure.
That's the Nature Check logo, I'm pretty sure. Catchphrase.
Cheryl
At least for
introduced
this
that.
game. What?
Yeah.
They even have a bell for it, which, like, I love that for you guys.
Right, they're a little more structured in the other game.
No, hit the bell and we can
Arcane.
talk about eye bleeding.
Freeform. No, I don't need to. You project eye blood.
Hey,
I second Peter's motion.
our
Oh,
viewers,
okay.
you
I
should
kinda
check
do,
out
Peter. Go. I
Are
didn't
you
hear that.
muted? I didn't hear that at all.
I'm not muted.
Oh,
I didn't hear the
Zoom just
bell.
decided to edit out the bell sound. There it
There
is.
it is.
Okay.
There are a couple of different species that bleed voluntarily as a warning signal to scare off predators. So the one that everyone is referencing is, I think, the horned lizard, horned devil.
That sounds
It's
right.
like some kind of desert lizard. Now I should have prepped. I
You
should
should
have.
have prepped for this tangent that
Somebody
I
else
was
go while
going
I
to
Google it.
induce.
From their eyes, like from the conjunctiva, the tear duct area, or what?
I'm an entomologist. It's part of their eyes. I knew this at some point. I don't remember it
It's
anymore.
not part of the eyeball. Yeah, it's got to be one of the tissues around the eye. Yes.
Yeah.
Or they just
Yeah.
use blood as a substitute for their lacrimal fluid, perhaps.
Stop that.
I agree.
There is also a bloody-nosed beetle that lives in Europe that secretes like a bright red. It's not actually blood because insects
But
don't
it's
have blood. But they secrete this
Except for
like
mosquitoes after they bite you.
Sure.
Sure, yeah. That
He's
we
got
didn't
you
call
there.
that secreting so much as popping.
that have blood.
They
You have blood at that point.
Mhm.
Xander's got you.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
right.
Yes. Once you
I
have
am,
Don't give
technically-
him this.
No, I'm giving this. This is my present
Gloves are
to
off.
you, Xander.
Episode 13.
Peter, go ahead. Tell us about the blood. This blood-spurting insect that doesn't spurt actual blood.
Cindy has Googled it and says it seems to be the horned lizard.
See,
thank you.
horned lizard. Peter
Thank
was
you,
right.
Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Okay. So I also googled this beetle. As it is bright red orange hemolymph.
Oh.
By breaking, they actually voluntarily break the like thin tissue membranes around their mouth and like spit up this like glob of this really bright red. It doesn't look like blood. It's more clear than blood. It's like it looks like water with red food coloring in it. Like it's got that more
People think that
transparent
looks
look
like
to it.
blood, though. But yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you.
But yeah, blood is very opaque. Our human blood is
Also,
very
like,
opaque.
viscous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and viscous.
And viscous.
Yeah. But
I
What
like
other
how
adjectives do we have
straight
for
a
blood?
face you said that with, Jordan. You're just like, it's also viscous.
That's awesome.
yeah, that's a great shirt.
Sanguine.
Blood is very viscous.
It's quite sanguine as well. All right, what do we
Yeah,
do?
that's your new
Yeah.
Twitter bio right now. So for the record, just to finish my tangent,
Please.
it tastes bad. So it's bright. So they're like this really pretty like metallic blue color, and so
I
the
love
red
metallic
blood
beetles.
stands out very, very vibrantly. So it's an aposematic coloration kind of thing where
It's,
it sticks out to predators, and then it's a warning that it tastes bad.
I see you seeing me, so like you know that I got something to fuck with you because you wouldn't see me otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Sort of
And
deal.
aposematism is warning colors. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm curious. So we said insects don't have blood, so they have hemolymph, but it's not blood because their insides don't work the same way ours do. So it is not blood. I guess because it doesn't carry oxygen. Is that the reason?
No, it does carry Wait, why? What the difference is between hemolymph and blood? So
Or
okay, yeah. So
insect blood and-
so
Or
hemolymph.
blood and
so
what they have.
we have basically two different circulatory systems in our bodies. We have a blood
Mm-hmm.
circulatory system and a lymph circulatory system. Nobody really talks about your lymph system, but it transports a lot of hormones throughout your body, and it also transports a lot of the fluid back. So your blood has it has a liquid component and a cell component, right? So you've got red blood cells, white blood cells, and you've also got plasma, which is the liquid component of blood. So the plasma actually like kind of gets moved
Is it
out of your
separate?
blood into other parts of your body. Like that's the part that kind of moves in and out of different areas of your body, and your lymph system transports it back almost. So when your lymph system messes up, that's where you get issues like edema, where you end up with like swelling. That's caused by your lymph system not functioning to bring the lymph, which is the plasma portion, back into circulation with your blood. I'm sure there are some If we have anybody who's an actual, physiologist out there,
Blood
they're rolling their
biologist.
eyes in this. But yeah, so
Phlebotomist?
and your lymph system is a kind of passive system. So you've got lymph nodes right throughout your body.
Yeah.
But you like your heart pumps your blood. Your lymph basically moves as your body moves. Like moving your body gets your lymph moving kind of passively as your muscles move.
God, I love the word
Insects.
lymph. That's fun to say.
So insects have basically just free-floating heme. So heme is the blood-carrying molecule in red blood cells. So each red blood cell is full of this little molecule that has iron in it, and that captures oxygen, and then and those little red blood cells are like little packages of heme moving around. The hemolymph, it just has that free-floating in the blood, and also the lymph. And so they don't have like the red blood cells like we think of as in ours. And it just kind of like, and like insects do have hearts. So the blood is actually circulated throughout the body, but they don't have like arteries and veins like we do. So the heart pumps blood, but it's basically like if you imagine like the insect's blood system as circulatory system as like a water balloon, and you're just kind of squeezing it, like the water is kind of like moving around and gooshing around inside of it, but it's not moving in like a predetermined pathway, right? There's not like a goes out from the heart and then back into the heart kind of thing.
My
it's
entomology
more just like,
professor described it as sloshing.
sloshing.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because insects don't have lungs like we do.
Because they're so small, there's no real need to have that center. Right.
So the oxygen is delivered in a whole bunch of different tracheoles throughout their body. So there's oxygen coming in all which way. So it's less about moving blood from the oxygen-rich area to the oxygen-poor area and back. It's more just about like making sure stuff is flowing past the oxygen supply and back to where it's needed.
That's also why prehistoric insects got to be so large, is because there was like...
That's exactly the question I was going to ask.
Yeah. So insects rely on a much more like passive way of acquiring oxygen because of these, as Peter said, the tracheoles or the spiracles or the holes on the outside of the arthropod, because it's not just insects like spiders too. Like the air goes in and then it interacts with the hemolymph through a membrane and passive diffusion happens.
Frogs breathe through their skin. Sorry, that's
they also do.
Excellent.
But yeah, prehistoric insects could get really big because there was a point in time when photosynthetic organisms like cyanobacteria and plants started to be a thing, and they were making a shit ton of oxygen, and all of a sudden
oxygen catastrophe.
Yes,
I love that. That's one of my favorite things in terms of like how cool it sounds to how cool it was. But like it was a major and sorry.
No, you're right. It was a catastrophe because it killed off so many organisms that had been persisting in an environment with no oxygen, because that's what Earth was like for so long. So oxygen can be toxic to organisms that, have certain ways of operating.
Toxicity, baby.
Yeah. But that huge spike in available oxygen allowed organisms with this passive breathing system like arthropods to get extremely large. But then as the oxygen levels sort of started to taper back down to levels that are more like what we have now, the giant insects couldn't keep up because it would require more effort than just that passive system in order to pull in enough oxygen to like keep them operating. So they got smaller. Yeah.
There you go. You had this cool conversation on the way down the elevator. Essay was giving a PowerPoint, like projected it on me going.
Yeah.
From her face.
Insect physiology. From my face. Yeah.
Exactly. Excellent. Ganymede and Islae, you could take a bit more time than expected, but get back. You've made some mossy discovery a little bit. You've discovered the kind of similarity is high but not perfect. Those are the two key takeaways from your scouting as far as I know.
Can I use recycling to take a sample of this weird moss and save it for later? For like
Probably.
Some regenerative medicine applications or something?
Probably. Is that a family move or
It's a shepherds are the cultivators of the new flesh. It's one of their family moves that I now have.
Oh, you got one of the pick another family's move sort of deals. Fair enough.
It's our best move.
It's a cool one. I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have some of this
cool
weird fast healing moss.
Addition. Yeah, cool.
Also, what has this moss been living on in a place where there's no light?
That's a fun question.
Radiation, although my Geiger counter didn't.
Oh,
Sorry, my Geiger-Mueller counter
Didn't click?
say-
Didn't click.
that clicks more now. Like, but not out of the ordinary for a city that's powered by running nuclear reactors, although not powered. But like the radiation levels aren't very dissimilar to what yours were before things went wrong, or
Right.
what the other available references are. It doesn't seem especially radioactive, is what I'm trying to get at.
Not especially radioactive. Okay.
Well, okay. The banana equivalent dose.
Right. Yes. How many bananas is it? I need to
It's
know.
like 5.
Okay.
Sleeping next to a person's like a banana for a night, so.
Y'all heard it here first. Sleeping next to a person is the equivalent of 1 banana.
In terms of the radiation dose received.
No.
we're
Don't
basically
like
the same.
provide context. I just like this.
Absolutely not. No, my entire thing is providing too much context, if anything. We live. Yeah. So.
Is there potassium in the environment as well?
Hopefully
Yeah.
a little bit.
And hopefully also in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long lived potassium. I don't remember what I said. I think it's potassium 40. That's the radioactive
That sounds
one.
right.
That's.
I don't know.
I'm learning. We're going back and learning some stuff about that right now, but
Mm-hmm.
not that stuff because that's not the elements I care about.
There was a conversation in the chat a little while ago about whether or not the shepherds would have modified animals to be able to change color to indicate the presence of radiation, and I wanted to point out that there are some living organisms that do that passively, naturally, without genetic engineering. So I know.
I change color
cats.
when exposed to ultraviolet radiation.
Yes.
Thanks, Peter.
But that's not.
It's ionizing radiation. Is the
I just wanted to
specific thing
point
of a
out
ray
that
cat.
I'm very special, you guys.
That's not very
well, you
special.
should do a better job,
I
Peter.
bet if you and I stood out in the sun for the same amount of time, I would turn red faster.
I bet if we said something nice about each of you, we'd turn red faster. Oh, look, she's doing it.
It's okay. So
I'm sorry.
This is
I'm
a
sorry.
really-
That was mean.
No. This is a really far tangent, but so my skin
It's
is
too
so
late now.
translucent that I freaked a nurse out because.
Okay, that's
So-
good to know.
So the day after I was bitten by a raccoon. That's how far this tangent
Okay,
is. Right?
that's a good story.
Yeah, the day after I was bitten by a raccoon, my raccoon bite was swelling a little, as you might expect from a wild animal bite, right? And I was like,
It wasn't a tame raccoon.
no.
Thank
so-
you for clarifying. Good
Yeah,
question.
I was working at a wildlife rehab. Anyway, so I was like, I need some antibiotics probably. So I went to the clinic to get some antibiotics, and the nurse was freaking out because I had been bitten by a raccoon, and that's not a thing she deals with often, right? But I think that
Right, that's
that
pretty
situation
rare
made her
occurrence.
very paranoid, because then she's looking at my skin and realizing that there are weird splotchy places on my skin. Not my freckles, by the way, other splotchiness on my skin. There are really very white patches and also very red patches because it's so translucent. And she was freaking out. And the doctor comes in and the nurse shows my arm to the doctor and is like, what's going on with her skin? And the doctor was like, that just happens with people with very pale skin. Calm down.
Man, I had strep once, and we went into the regular clinic. They gave me an antibiotic, but it was a nasty case, so it didn't really do much. We went into a second clinic, and the doctor put the thing in my mouth to kind of take a look, and then goes to my dad. He's like, "Hey, come take a look at this." And I was like, "Oh boy, I got
no.
it good." Which, he prescribed me a new antibiotic. It was yeah, this is a pea shooter they gave you, so we're going to give you something more to speed with, and it helped. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. That's just follow up on your story.
But to get back to what I actually wanted to talk about, which was organisms that change color when they're exposed to radiation.
Gray cats.
Those were genetically modified, right? So I'm talking about, I know of at least one plant that part of it will change color when it's exposed to a certain level of radiation. I don't remember what the level is. But the plant called spiderwort, so it's a plant that we actually have here in the Illinois prairie, but it's also often a plant that people will put in their gardens because they're kind of cool. The flowers are usually like a deep purple or deep blue, but they can be other colors. I've even seen some white ones in the prairie, which is cool. And they have 3 petals in sort of, like a flat triangle arrangement. And then all of the reproductive parts of the flower are in the center, right? So I
believe that's how flowers work.
Yeah. Many flowers.
Yes.
The stamen, I think it's the stamen, maybe it's the anthers. Either the male or the female parts of the flowers.
10th grade.
Can't remember if it's the male part or the female part, but one of those 2 parts changes color. I don't remember what color it changes to. This is not as great a fun fact as I was hoping. But anyway, part of the reproductive part of the flower changes color when it's exposed to radiation. So you could technically use those plants as like radiation detectors.
Huh. Well, there you go. It hasn't changed color. It's green. I mean, you haven't
Wait, what's
haven't
green?
seen it be a different color. The moss.
Oh, the moss.
See, that's why I wanted to
moss
know
is green.
how it's photosynthesizing without light.
Well, I mean,
well, it wouldn't be
plants are green
photosynthesizing.
mostly because it's not a very good temperature light for them. Anyway.
My studio audience just informed me that the stamen, or the female reproductive part of the flower in a spiderwort, changes from blue to pink.
Thank you.
Pink.
That's cool.
Thank
That's a
your
very
studio
drastic
audience
color.
for us.
Right, so it's very noticeable. Thank you, studio audience.
Oh man, I wonder if that's an anthocyanin thing. So like if it's like a pH change that would, because like
How do you hit that
to
from
get back into plant
guess it
chemistry.
depends
So
what.
so
Go ahead.
anthocyanins are a type of color chemicals that occur in plants. They're what give things like purple cabbage its color. Or blueberries, or hydrangeas.
They're one of the things that color fall leaves, et cetera, et cetera.
Beta
and
decay is a bonus electron added to things, so it changes the electronegativity of the not actually, because there's other effects that cancel it out. But like if you get hit by a beta particle, you get a new electron that's come from somewhere else. Anyway, so that I could see that making Peter continue. I just wanted to.
Oh no, that makes sense. So anthocyanins are sensitive to changes in pH. So you can that's one of those like high school chemistry experiments where you can take purple cabbage and you can like add vinegar to it, it turns green. So one of the classic changes is like a pink blue switch. So I wonder if it's like if radiation changes the internal pH of the flower, which then changes the color or something like that.
So that the most probably well-known example of the blue to pink change and back and forth is peonies, right? Isn't that
isn't that
maybe
seasonal?
Because I think that's the right flower. There's some like fairly common garden flower. Oh, is it
the
hydrangeas?
one I always think of?
Where you
like
if
the
you plant
soil.
a penny under it, it'll change its color.
Oh.
I don't know that they're that sensitive, but they are very sensitive to to changes in
maybe
pH. So
it's
they're like
hydrangeas
white.
instead of peonies, yeah.
They're like white at pH neutral, but like slight shifts in soil pH will change the color.
Cindy said the hydrangeas will change from blue to pink. Yeah, okay. I remember learning in grade school that like if you planted a penny, like if you had a hydrangea bush and it was like all of, I don't remember which way the color goes, but if it was all of one color and you planted a penny, like dug under the plant and put a penny under it, that would change the soil chemistry enough that like half of the plant's flowers would become a different color.
I've never heard that specific one, but I like it.
Yeah.
I think penny would. I mean, right? You use the penny is one of your options for making a lemon battery, and you do that because you've got 2 different electronegativities to create that voltage, the flow. Anyway, so yeah, pennies interact with acid is really all I can think. I've felt like I could determine from first principles which direction that would make it go, but I have thought about it and can't. One of them, I bet, is either higher or lower. It'd be weird if you had any and it stayed the same.
We're so good at this. We all have like bits and pieces of fun facts.
Oh god, yeah.
I would bet if the human retina was just a little bit more sensitive to other wavelengths of light that we consider infrared, ultraviolet, that we would see these effects more commonly, like everywhere in plants. Right.
I had a.
I'm sure you guys are familiar with the examples of how flowers have patterns on them that we can't see, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for bees.
Pollinators can see of various species.
Yeah.
So the examples that you're giving right now, moving from blue to pink, the reason that I'm thinking this is that assuming that I'm interpreting the color of pink that you're talking about correctly, because there's a difference in like pinks can sometimes be a combination of different wavelengths, or they can be like a specific wavelength. It sounds like you're moving from a very short wavelength to a very long wavelength of light. And then what's really changing there is the way that your retina is sending information from that wavelength to a part of your brain called V8, which I think is a very funny name, that actually takes that information and turns it to your experience of color, right? And so the chemical change that's happening in the plant isn't necessarily changing the color of the plant. What it's doing is it's changing the way that light is reflecting, such that the chemical change is actually happening at the back of your eye, which I think is really wild to think about. Whenever we think about something changing color, there is a chemical change happening there, but really all that's happening is it's changing the wavelength of light bouncing off of it. So I would imagine.
Do you have any hydrangea facts? We've all thrown in with dumb. It's a bit tough for machine learning, I concede.
Maybe there's something there. But the reason I bring it up is that going from blue, which is a very, very short wavelength, very, very powerful wavelength, contains a lot of energy, to something, if I'm interpreting pink correctly, something near infrared or a much, much longer wavelength. I would imagine that there are lots of examples in which colors shift in extreme ways, but we can't see them because it's just outside of the scope of experience of the human eye. That said, I bet if you found a tetrachromat, these are people who have 4 different types of color backs of their eyes. They can see. I
didn't realize that was a thing that happened in people. I thought you had to be a new species for it.
No. It really exists, although they're extremely rare, and it only happens in women.
I know that.
Cool.
You know how men are more likely to be colorblind?
Yeah, at various X-linked.
It turns out that there's a similar situation where if you are a woman, your X chromosome can carry different variants of some of these cones, such that you can end up seeing literally millions more colors than any other person can see. And they only discovered that this was they hypothesized that this was a real thing that could happen in humans for a long time, but it wasn't until a few decades ago that they found the first person that they confirmed was a tetrachromat. She worked at a dress shop. And people kept being like, this color is the same as this color, right? And she'd be like, no, those are completely different colors. You guys are crazy. And eventually some researchers discovered her and they did some tests on her. And because she has that extra wavelength, it has this that extra cone. It has this multiplicative effect where you're not just combining 3 different wavelengths of cones now, you're combining 4. And that gives you, you go from, this many colors to literally 1,000 more possible colors of combinations that you can see, which results in millions and millions of new colors that nobody else can see. Right?
I have to say, I have never experienced this much jealousy within 1 minute of hearing of somebody ever before.
Well,
they have a completely different way of seeing color than the average person does.
That is super cool. And I was about to ask how they would have figured it out, or like how you would know if you were one, but that makes sense. But I have a follow-up fun fact that I learned back when I was doing environmental ed, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that, so not only is this tetrachromat thing only possible in women, but there's also the argument, like...
Be clear, sorry, interrupt. I wanted to say this when Xander was talking about it, but for women, we're talking people with 2 X chromosomes,
yes,
right?
Sorry,
That's correct, yes.
So people with 2 X chromosomes.
Yeah.
But those people with 2 X chromosomes, again, like if there's an argument between a typical man and a typical woman, as it were, the dude will say that's blue and the woman will say it's periwinkle or something like that, right? And my understanding was that double X chromosome people's rods do double duty and help differentiate color. and that there's some thought that might be like from the hunter-gatherer history, that like because women were searching for more food things, and also because like if we eat poisonous things, it can be bad for the tiny parasites we're carrying, that like we needed to like people with double X chromosomes needed to be better at differentiating like the colors of food items.
Yep.
Okay.
So color discrimination, smell discrimination, and a couple of other types of discrimination, people with 2X chromosomes are better at it on average. And a lot of that, the theory behind it, obviously evolutionary psychology, very theoretical, not something we could test very easily, does go back to this idea of gathering plants, right? And being able to tell the difference between something that's ripe or poisonous, or however you want to think about it, may have ended up with natural selection of that discrimination advantage for specific types of things. So, for example, the average person you meet with 2X chromosomes will have stronger preferences for colors and smells as well, just because there are those minute details. I mean, I argue with Vanessa all the time about like, we have this chair that I think is black and she calls it brown. We fight about it all the time, right? And I'm not someone who is colorblind. I just have a worse ability to discriminate for whatever reason. And honestly, there are layers to this. Like some of it might even be epigenetic. I don't know.
The discrimination also extends to taste, though. So you're more likely to find that people with double X chromosomes, and this is even like become a stereotype, right, that are less likely to like beer and coffee because they have very bitter flavors, or they can have very bitter flavors. And again, bitterness is one way of for a plant to indicate like, don't eat me,
poison,
right? And again, that if eating that could be bad for the tiny parasite you're carrying. So yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Capsaicin was supposed to be painful too, but then here we are, we're like, hell yeah, let's do it. It's about an hour and a half in. I need to pee. We achieved I think getting down the elevator. We've told a lot of fun facts.
We got lost and got unlost.
A little more. Yeah, I discovered some stuff.
We got lost,
we got lost, we got unlost. So I can solve my shit. And you all can, and we'll come back, see how this turns out.
All right, we'll be back soon.
Cool.
Bye. Hello, everyone. We're back. First, I want to say thank you so much, Cindy, for being in the chat and helping us out. She knows a lot more about human genetics than I do. So thank you for keeping us on track and reminding us that technically the definition of quote-unquote male is defined as having a Y chromosome, not, you know, we were saying it wrong by saying someone with double X. So it's actually whether or not you have a Y chromosome. But it is, of course, important to remember that both biological sex and gender are spectrums and very complicated and difficult to pin down, which leads to an interesting conversation that so there was a question in the chat that we were actually already partway through discussing. So because Xander said when someone has 3X chromosomes, there's a very tiny chance that they can have this genetic anomaly that allows you to have a fourth cone, which makes you a tetrachromat. He was like, oh, well, if you had, or no, it was if you have 2 X chromosomes, there's a chance you can be a tetrachromat, right?
You could.
So if you had 3 X chromosomes, which is something that is possible, you could technically, there's a possibility of someone being a
very small possibility, yes.
Right, because having more than 2 chromosomes, having more than 2 chromosomes is really, really rare. And then having more than 2 chromosomes and having all 3 of them be X's is even rarer. And then having that genetic anomaly that changes the number of cones is rarer still. So there's like...
You'd have to have the genetic anomaly twice in 2 different directions.
So you'd have to have it
crazy.
Teeny tiny chance, but it is theoretically possible to have a quintochromat, which would be really cool. So if you're out there and you see many more colors than anyone else, let us know, because
that's cool.
Quintochromacy? Is that how you would say it?
Quintochromacy would be...
Quintochromacy
sounds like a magic system that Brandon Sanderson would come up.
You're not wrong.
But yeah...
I was gonna ask if she knows the answer to this.
Here you go, Cindy.
Do you need to have at least 1 X chromosome in order to live? Like, you couldn't just
I think
have
so.
a Y chromosome.
Yeah.
You would need at least
That's
one
fine.
X.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
think
a-
there's a lot of important
there's a whole
stuff.
You could just have
genes.
one X, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
You
there's
could
a
just
whole
have
bunch of
one
genes
X.
on the X
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
can have
Yeah.
just one X.
You
yeah.
you and I'm fairly certain, Xander, both only have one X, and we're doing okay.
No. I think what he meant was you can be XO,
debatable.
right? You can be,
Right.
you can have an X chromosome and then not a second one. Like that
Yes.
is possible.
Yes,
But you
that
wouldn't
is
be able to do
also
that
true.
with a Y.
Right.
No, the Y. So the X chromosome does a bunch of stuff other than
Yeah.
sex characteristics. The Y chromosome only has
Basically
like 3
doesn't.
other genes on it. One
Yeah.
of them is the hairy ears gene,
Ew.
which is a fun fact. If you're a
My
man
grandpa
and
had
you
that
grow
once.
hair on your ears, you inherited it directly from your father, or along with your Y chromosome. Like if
Fuck.
you have a Y
Peter,
chromosome,
this is terrible.
I know,
Peter,
right?
are you serious?
Yeah, seriously. Like, my grandfather had these gross hairy ears,
Shit.
and I am just
Nice.
waiting for them to... And I'm gonna have to get one of those. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm so
same.
sorry for all the men out there, or all the Y carriers out there who have to deal with this burden
This-
of information. Yeah,
On
you're
the,
gonna have to buy
this
one of
is
those
a
ear
lot.
trimmers
on
So
the flip
or
side,
wax.
isn't the thing for baldness, isn't that on the X chromosome, and that's why baldness goes like through
yeah, my
matrilineal-
grandpa on
yeah.
my mom's side has really good head of hair, so I anticipate keeping this forever.
Well,
Anyhow, that's
I think that
neither
is the
here nor there.
general rule,
Yeah.
but I think
yeah,
it's a little
but-
bit more tricky
No,
with
yes.
baldness. Like there are
Male
a couple
pattern
other ways
baldness.
that you can go bald.
It's a
Yeah.
good first
Yeah.
order approximation
Um,
is all I'm really relying on.
Okay,
Anyhow.
so
Yes.
Cindy says having a Y chromosome and nothing else on that pair is not viable.
Yeah,
Being
that's what I thought.
XO is something called Turner syndrome.
Thank goodness we
She
have
also
a
says,
geneticist.
I know, right? Well, she's she also says there's so much amazing shit on that Y chromosome. It's shorter than the others, but there's so much packed in there. Yeah.
there you go.
I
Chromosomes.
don't believe it. I
They're
think Cindy's
crazy.
just trying to butter us up. Butter the Y chromosome
Anyhow,
gappers on the channel up.
We've taken
one
10
last
minutes on
thing.
this. Okay,
One
yes.
last thing. If you wanted to experience colors that you've never seen before,
Mm.
technically you could see them using direct brain stimulation, right? Which is a little bit extreme, but you could completely
Yes.
bypass the eye. So the limiting factor in being unable to see certain colors is the retina. You can go directly to V8. You actually have 2 of them on for one for your right field of vision, one for your left field of vision on either side of your occipital lobe, kind of by the temporal lobe, actually back here. And if you stimulate one or both of them in just the right way, you could activate what are literally called the green cells and the red cells at the same time.
Yes!
And
Sorry.
you could see colors that don't exist colors that don't normally exist because your retina have sort of like this artificial spectrum that they build where you move either towards green or red when you see a color, but you can't move towards both simultaneously. But if you directly stimulate the brain, you can actually force yourself to see colors like yellow, blue, and green, red, and things like that. And weirdly, V8 also has cells for some colors that aren't what you would traditionally consider to be part of the color wheel.
Extant?
Like there have been arguments that there are cells that
Magenta?
are pink cells, right? Which is why
Yeah.
pink looks like a distinct color, even though it's not, right? At least
Yeah.
when it comes to
Well,
wavelengths,
Peter-
it's because the brain does that
Oh wow, Peter got
after the wavelength hits your eye, right? It's not
Yeah,
an effect that
magenta's
happens in
fake.
your eye, it's an effect that happens in your brain. That's why pink looks so weird and different, even though it's really just a shade of red, or however you want to think about it, or a combination of purple and red, if you want to think about it that way.
So your headband
You
is
could-
a lie.
I'm just
Sorry,
very
what?
glad my ex-wife doesn't listen to this podcast. I just lost a bunch of arguments.
Oh no!
Oh, good for her. You know what? I'm gonna say good for her.
Yeah, right.
Let's see
One other-
if we can't
one
finish.
other-
Oh, well,
I'm
One
gonna
other
call
issue
her after
of
this
fact.
and tell her. Yeah.
There's no reason why red and purple should fit so well together on the color wheel. Think about it this way.
except-
Purple
Yeah,
is an
'cause they are
extremely short
on the
wavelength, or
absolute-
violet,
yep.
sorry. Or
Right.
purple. Let's call it purple. I like purple better. Indigo doesn't
Me
exist,
too,
so let's ignore
honestly.
that.
Yeah.
What?
And then on the other side, you've
But
got
what about Roy Jabiv?
No.
no, that was just to get
Indigo
seven,
only
give you, like,
exists
seven.
to make it
Okay.
pronounceable.
Let Xander finish
You
his
know
fun
what?
fact.
And then red's
He's
on the
talking
opposite
about
side.
physics, Jareth. Pay attention.
But if you build yourself a color wheel, you'll notice how easy it is for red and purple to blend together, and they seem natural. They seem like they go together. That is, again, an artifact of your brain trying to sort of make sense of the information coming in. But there's no reason why the longest wavelengths and the shortest wavelengths should ever have anything to do with each other in a way that's palatable like that. It's just part of our evolutionary history where we're just kind of like, oh, let's make it work on these 3 dimensions that slide in this way such that we can build a circle out of it, even though the actual physical representation that's hitting our eye is, of course, a line. It's a one-dimensional spectrum, right?
I once
and
had
yet
a
our brain
physics
is like,
professor-
let's just tie those ends together neatly, just like that, so that we can have fun with the colors.
Because our
I
brains
once
are just
had,
really good at lying to ourselves.
They're
a
really good at
professor
lying.
who
So-
didn't. Oh.
Your professor didn't what?
Who was mad that we weren't, I think, turtles who only need 1 photon to activate a cone, whereas we need about 5, so you can't see the sort of quantum light effects that
I'm pretty sure it's the other way around, right?
No,
One,
we don't.
One
Ours
for a
aren't.
rod, 5 for a cone. I'm not sure about that.
I could be wrong on that. I'm not thinking. I meant just your eye cells when I said, but like, for we need more photons than I think turtles or frogs do, and so they could directly see blazing interference, and we had to like project it onto something, which we did. I got an A on that one. So yeah, you
What's up,
found
Peter?
yourself in an elevator. Oh, Peter, yes, I thought. Well,
I just
one more.
wanted to clarify something that the chat mentioned. So pink is the brain forcing the loop to close to create a color wheel rather than a colored line.
Sort
Is
of,
that-
yeah. Or at least magenta is, right? Some of those shades in there that are
Yeah, that's
red and purple.
Yeah,
Pink is a bit more complicated. So there are some shades of pink that are forcing the loop to close, and there are some that aren't, that are just red.
light red. Yeah.
Just red.
So I am right.
Oh
Take
my
that.
God.
Kind of.
My takeaway from all of this is that we should just get rid of Burn and start a coffee clutch where we just talk instead of playing a game, because
Honestly?
that's what we do anyway.
Oh right, we're playing a game.
Right. we're
Yes,
playing a
I was
game.
vaguely attempting to
Are we back in the elevator?
rail it. No. Well, yes.
That's what all of this has been.
have to be.
Well, some of you never left the elevator, right?
This was what was happening on the
I
way
mean, I
down
assume
the
we
elevator.
got
these
out of the
discussions.
elevator.
Yeah,
but just didn't go
I-
anywhere.
Likewise, assume that you were kind of hanging out in its vicinity, but not on the platform because there's.
Essie and Jareth or Essie and Lissa
Oh, boy.
have ridden back up to the
Jareth
top
is
and
here
now
too?
back again. Sorry.
It becomes very meta, and all of a sudden the dungeon master is in there with you, and
And then I pop in.
it's like the D&D movie.
Yeah.
I never saw that and I refuse to. Moving right along. So what you've discovered is that this abandoned city is covered in moss that's growing fairly rapidly. It seems to have been shut down nicely, but it's not quite like yours, but it's pretty like yours. I think those are the, but it does, I think, especially because Xander rolled very good on the getting unlost check. I think you can reasonably, in poking around, discover that it has been deliberately shut down by, there's protocols and whatnot, because like they've mostly been lost, and a lot of I think of the 3 civilizations you do have on hand, maybe one of you kept them. Did you? Yes, Sheryl, was that you kept them?
No, I have.
No, sorry, you're raising your hand
I
for
have
something
a really
else.
important question. Was the elevator at the top or the bottom of the shaft when we entered and
Top.
started making things work?
Top.
Top.
It was level with the top.
But it could not move without the power being turned off. Or without
Correct.
the power being turned on.
Would you like to make some sort of lore roll to piece some stuff together? Because I have an answer to that.
My
but
character is
you-
real bad at lore.
I mean,
Sure, I'll
pose it to
try.
the question.
I'll try it and it'll be real
Why
bad.
don't you?
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
It's gonna be real bad though. But I have thoughts. Partial success. It's not as bad as it could have been.
Okay, that's fine. I was only looking for a little here, anyways, because it seems likely that they went up on backup power, which has since completely drained.
I thought we turned on the backup power.
Oh, we drained.
Yes, turning it back. Sorry. The generator. Oh boy. Let me.
I have to issue a quick corrigendum. It's actually the pink cells are located in V4, so a slightly
it's different
part
from
of the
the
brain.
V.
But it's located
They're all
immediately
the
next to the
same.
part that I was
Yeah.
talking about.
So if you just
I
poke
have
around
this
enough, you'll hit
incorporate-
the right spot.
Poke around enough, you'll find
Poke your
it.
brain with an
Poke it in and
electrode
stir
see
it
some
around a
colors.
little.
Jordan,
If you're curious,
have
if
an
you're
issue
curious,
with that.
if you're curious, the theory, or at least one of the theories, is that there are 11 types of color cells represented there: red, blue, green, yellow, black, white, brown, pink, purple, orange, and gray. I know I listed those quickly, but those are sort
Those
of
all
like,
seem like colors.
That seems
yeah,
like
those
the
are like the
box.
distinct things. But because we have representations for gray and brown, they look different than, say, like you're sliding from one color to another. Have you ever noticed, like, on parts of the color wheel, it's really hard to be like, this is this and this is that.
Pain in the
And
ass to get
suddenly it turns
orange.
into something else, right? Like going from
Yeah.
green to yellow, there's like this boundary, right?
That tiny, yeah,
That's because the brain tries to sort it into these
does
categorical.
its best.
things.
XKCD did the whole big study about it where everyone got mad at colors for being green. Neither here nor there.
So how much of this am I able to... what
so
happened with the power?
Yes. So the what you turned back on were the backup generators. They turned those off, but the backup batteries had more than enough power to run the elevator for last time effectively.
Okay. So
That is what
theoretically,
you are
they
kind
could have
of-
used the backup battery to
Right. You don't need the
lift to
generator
the
running
surface, leave the elevator there, exit, exunt, and lock the door behind them.
Yes.
Okay.
If
Sorry.
you are reading the old protocols correctly, which no one's guaranteeing at this point, it seems like it may have even been according to them.
Okay. I guess I was trying to figure out if I could reasonably assume it was actually empty or not.
So I think it would be fair to say that it was not being actively maintained. I wouldn't go so far as to assume that nobody had decided to stay behind for nefarious or perhaps even not nefarious reasons. I'm just telling you what you
Okay.
no, but like
I lift up some of the
since you
moss. Are there
asked-
dead bodies underneath?
I mean, yes. Well, not like a lot, but like there's definitely
Wait.
like you're poking around.
Wait,
not
you said that
eaten
so
by the
casually.
moss.
I lift up the moss and there's like a skeleton underneath. Are you serious?
But, like, yeah, it feels
He
like it's
goes,
been abandoned a bit.
"Ooh."
You've seen when you were wandering around, like part of the Tridius seems to. Well, is it? Hang on, I said that just offhandedly, and I don't.
That's why I was
want
like,
it,
why did you
actually.
say that so casually?
Because you
name is
put me
Mr.
on the
Bell.
spot,
I feel
and I
like that
tried to
would've been
think of an
important.
answer. Yeah.
Thing to point
I was
out.
just like thinking like kind of in terms of like an overgrown thing, but like that's if somebody was left there, and that's not really the setup I'm envisioning. Like it would have grown
I was
over
gonna
a
say, were
body
they, like-
left there is what I was trying to think through.
Are we
than-
seeing like people's markings from clawing at the walls because they were trapped? Like,
Yeah.
what's up?
No. Well,
Yay!
Halloween episode.
I'm glad I put up
So-
that hang in there poster. This place
Yeah.
really needed it.
it seems virulent. It doesn't seem like it eats people.
The moss.
But like it would grow over things quickly is kind of what I was thinking about when I said that. Is like if there was like stuff here, it would have kind of been covered by it. But
Wait,
So
so
we
is
should
the
take a
moss
long
eating
rest
the dead
anyway.
bodies, or is it just that like people haven't
Um,
been here long enough that there are skeletons?
so here, let me clarify things because I did a bad job. I did a really bad job. I've said several things, some of which must be true and others of which can't be. If
Everyone
those ones
practice
are.
your surprised faces.
Everyone please prepared to act. Oh god. Is that
Ah.
what you're finding is that it's quickly growing. It's kind of overgrowing a lot of the surfaces, but not all that thickly, and much more so on the metallic surfaces
Okay.
than
Okay.
like. But if like there were garden plots, for instance, that are more abandoned than mossy, it feels like, for instance.
Okay, so it's not like an American
so they're more-
Southeast kudzu infestation.
Maybe. Kudzu
Our
rust
North Carolinian
stuff.
listeners appreciate that, Sure.
Actually,
I'm just asking for, like,
juice of
volume
cud,
of
and it has
vegetative mass.
Lots.
Lots. Okay. Maybe it is like
Yeah, we're
kudzu
scientists
then.
here.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Not that kind of scientist.
I'm a physicist.
2 metric lots.
So, not
Yep.
yeah. Look, if I'm on an order of magnitude, I'm feeling pretty solid. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the salient point there, though, was that the moss is growing on metal surfaces more than it's
More
growing
so
on
than-
non-metal
yeah.
surfaces.
Um,
Okay. To keep us roughly on track.
Yeah, right? Can you imagine?
Is this like, if I stand still, can I, like, hear the tiny sound of it growing? Like, is it that fast?
I'm gonna say yes.
Wow, we're
That
all
is
gonna
both-
die here.
Yeah,
What?
delightful and terrifying.
Maybe, but like,
Wait, where
if
are
you
my
want to
robots?
leave,
Ooh.
with you, hanging out, being like,
Okay,
Dancing.
none of them are on the ground. None of them are
Dancing?
touching the moss.
I don't know, what do robots do when they're bored? Dance, I
That's it.
bet.
Apparently steal nuclear power rods, but...
No, they were
Well,
trying to be
I
helpful.
don't know if there are any of those here.
That was a friendly gesture. It was just a bad friendly gesture.
swing and a miss.
So what was the? Sorry.
Okay.
Where were we? What was the question? So yes, you.
Well, if we found a skeleton, we know that
There
the
aren't
moss.
that many
Sorry,
Sorry. There's no like weird kind of bodies like slumped over in the corridor or anything. But like I think you probably, if you look through some doors, found somebody who maybe died in their sleep and was left behind rather than brought through, which is now more mossy. But this it would be more like. Actually, yeah. Hang on. Before I say that, does anyone do that?
Wait, does anyone
Or,
do
how
what?
much? So
Like, open
Xander,
doors
when
and
you were
stuff?
checking, yeah,
Mhm.
I think you could have theoretically found maybe 1 or 2 such bodies if when you were looking.
Oh, was I supposed to
but
report those? I didn't know if you
No.
guys were
You didn't
interested in
include
bodies.
them in your
Listen, I went
eye
to look
blood
at the
map?
architecture.
So there
you
were a
checking
lot of dead
doors
people?
is
I went
kind
to look
of-
at the architecture.
No,
You didn't tell me to
absolutely
report
not.
back
There are
things
not a
like
lot of dead
bodies.
people.
It was
That's not-
brutalist.
This is a part,
Well, the
Ganymede, this is a
architecture.
part of the social contract that we all agreed to when we
Was that there'd be
operate
bodies?
together as an expedition, that you always report bodies.
Is that...
This is a part of the unspoken agreement
It's
that we
true.
all exist in society.
Essie sounds a lot like Cedric.
You. There's only so many character voices.
So, like, my big question right now is, like, did they leave because of the moss, do we think?
Do
Or
you
if this
want
is
to
just a
investigate
bizarre
that?
burial ritual or something.
Right, or, like, is the moss the reason they left? Or
Something
did they leave
that
for
got
some
out of
other
hand
reason?
afterwards, or
Yeah, like...
that's well, how do you think you would go about like doing that in your something that very much resembles your previous compound? So you have pretty good familiarity with. What would you do to find
To the
that
science buildings.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't need to make you make checks to go to down the streets that
Really?
you
'Cause
know
we
of
got
your
lost
own home
before.
effectively.
Yeah. Listen.
Yes, that was in investigating the details, not going to a specific known building.
I see.
Because like Xander was like, "Dude, these details line up," and I imagine that involved going into some cracks and crevices in a way that.
I like to imagine that after 1,000 years underground, the passwords are still the same between the
Swordfish.
the institute and
wait,
whatever
swordfish.
their equivalent is. And Lissa's just like master password 123.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hunter 2.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, you can kind of get to the Okay, and I've named this one the Academy. I feel good about that one. I don't like what I did with the Bowerbirds, but the Academy feels like a very good parallel to the Institute over here.
I have to ask the style of architecture since we've made a point of mentioning that for so many.
Oh,
other
it's the
buildings.
same as I forget what I said about your stuff, but it's the same.
Gothic flying
setup.
buttresses all the way down.
Hell yeah, love it.
I thought that's what the
Maybe.
slaughterhouse
You wrote
was.
it.
I wrote it down somewhere. Do you have it in a message?
You wrote it down here, but it's all like
A little bit
the
brutalist,
above-ground
lots
things.
of
We didn't
cement.
write down
Oh.
the below
In an underground
stuff.
bunker? What a shocker.
Yeah, there is a lot of cement in this bunker.
Very
That is-
Victorian bunker. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of...
Very cottagecore.
Ow.
Yeah, there's a lot of barnwood that survived the centuries underground.
You find the kind of you can get in without, right? Like the doors down here haven't been locked. The what are you looking for in there? Like computers? Because
Answers.
I have a vial of
Some-
moss, and I need to know more about it.
Actually, yeah,
You
I was
wanna
going to
run some
say
tests?
Moss turns out to be the final boss, and I'm just saying they rhyme, so that the odds are in the Moss's favor of being the boss. We should probably figure out what its weaknesses are now.
smart,
Like,
smart.
either
Well,
pile of
it's
it
a plant
starts on
type,
fire.
so
Fire.
fire.
What else is ice? Is ice good against grass?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I know my Pokemon
Flying
matchups.
types. Hey, the drones can fly.
The drones are electric type.
Damn
Oh yeah,
it.
they do have
Electric
little.
flying.
Oh fuck! I made
The moss. The
They're
moss
electric
seems
flying,
to love
the
right?
little magnet one.
Yeah.
Electrode? Is that the guy? No, Electrode's the one that looks like it.
We're talking
What's
about
the one that looks like with the little magnets?
Yeah, Magnemite.
Oh, Magnemite, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I basically made Jordan's robots Magnemite, and I'm sorry. But deal with it. Anyhow, so yeah, you can find a lab, you can set up some tests with your cool vial. Is that all of you? Or is that
Well, I have the vial of moss, but someone who knows how to do science should do the science with the
I
moss
thought that
because that's
maybe-
not me.
mm. Well, Jordan, you know, Lissa certainly has the tools and
Here,
some
Lissa,
familiarity.
do something
A lot
with
of
this.
these lab benches are overgrown. You have to scrape them off, and fairly aggressively too. Like I
Okay.
think perhaps like Islae and Ganymede are having to just like keep the moss off the table while you guys run tests.
Oh god, I didn't even need the vial of it. It's just in here.
Yeah,
The
I
moss
mean, yeah.
could run tests on itself.
Yeah,
No, it
Essie,
turns
Essie
out-
has a lot of experience
well-
as a demolitions agent in the war, so she's gonna set up like a fire
True.
break and just like constantly just be like burning back the moss.
You have like a
Smart.
improvised flamethrower. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Roll
What does
for
it smell like
improvised
when it burns?
flamethrower.
Give us some of that
Improvised flamethrower. I'm gonna say that's a steel.
Yeah,
It would probably
Sure, or
need some
lower.
steel parts.
the improvised
Ah.
tech.
Oops! It blows up in
sad.
my hand.
Oops! It blows up in your hand. Oh no!
Yeah, it's fun. Take some damage. Let's say 2.
Ooh, I am.
Yeah, you're holding a very hot thing that I don't think
You are
it like
holding a very
completely
hot
blows
thing.
up, but
Peter's second character to lose a hand.
it
in this
requires
game.
no, maybe not yet. But
She already
take some
has
damage.
like canonically has burn
Some scars.
wounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
burn
yeah.
burn scars.
this was
Yeah, so she is
brutal.
so winded and fearful are my 2 markers for harm. So yeah, so she's like
okay.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
having some psychological fear stuff associated with that
From
explosion.
so yeah, okay. It's I think not like it's like a quick flash fire more than like bomb style explosion, right?
yeah,
It's-
she's just gonna sit down
yeah.
and have a panic attack. It's just
yeah,
upset.
I would have a panic attack about it, but I think the harm to anything and everything is more or less superficial, and it does keep the moss at bay for like 15-20 minutes. you
I
know?
will take her place and watch the moss and tell
I should-
Ganymede
yeah.
to look through his pockets for something to help fix her.
Yeah,
Oh.
I can find whatever my ability is just enough. I can find medical supplies if I rifle through my pockets.
Fair enough.
Ice pack, band-aid, Neosporin,
probably.
gauze.
Neosporin, I love it.
So what's your you got a partial success on the lore roll. So I can what you're finding, and I don't think this is shocking information yet, is that it's a very virulent strain. It's very burnable, which is nice. Well, I'm going to give you a suspicion here that it seems like perhaps a foodstuff modification going completely out of hand. Vulnerable to fire because it burns well, grows quickly, grows on metal surfaces, seems to eat largely through oxidizing iron and whatever. I know how so kudzu is I think a fair right? It does that. I'm pretty sure am I wrong? It does that in a video game that I'm playing right now, and that's the only thing. It's like a breast monster.
So basically, what you're saying is like when we lift the moss or scrape the moss off of metal surfaces, the metal underneath is being quote unquote rotted away.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. It seems to be that is your energy source, as you would think if you've done science, which you have. Sorry, that was a bad sentence. But yeah, you find that out about this moss, and what now? Do you want to kind of keep looking around, trying to access the computer systems? Maybe there could definitely be logs.
Let's check out those logs.
Also, under the circumstances, you feel like the data center could certainly have been compromised. So why don't...
All that's on this computer is Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah.
That was a dumb joke, I'm sorry.
No, I loved it.
The only user logged into the game, it just says Moss.
What else are you going to do with thousands of years of free time?
Wow. You don't know how long.
The Moss has had free time?
Yeah.
We don't. That is true.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking through the moves quickly. Probably want the finding the computer room one. I think more. Oh, I'm on the family moves again. Still, forge a path. Somebody with force do this for me as you kind of.
Oh nope.
Beat your way into the system. It's also, I think, to find out how the what the status of the room is I think a bit dependent on how this goes. Because
who's the most forceful?
I
have
Not
one
me.
force.
I have -1 force.
I've got zero, but I'm willing to die for the cause.
I've got it.
Peter's got that.
Hey, I've got a partial success. Rolling real bad.
Nah, it's fine. Partial successes, especially in kind of low stakes situations like this, I'm not gonna give you as much control, but what you find is that much like at the institute, right, the big computer server rooms need special environmental control and all that. I'm not talking out of turn here, and as such there are isolated from the moss more or less at the moment, but when you open the door it kind of starts to crawl in, and the race is either on or again, this isn't, I think we're talking it's moving no more than like an inch a minute. We're not like no, that can't be right.
That's really fast. I'm nervous.
You can see that happening.
Yeah.
You asked, can I hear?
Yeah, that's, oh god.
You had to fight this stuff back off the bench. I told you it was aggressive.
Like the sound of moss growing
That's
has
scary.
to be just... There's some ASMR right there.
I was not expecting plant horror,
Some creaky.
but thank you.
Yeah, no, I stole it from Fallout, if I'm being honest.
Which one?
New Vegas. There's the plant vault.
I love that Sheryl is like, I wasn't expecting plant horror. She literally just tried to kill me in Arda with a giant plant monster.
Well, it's from me.
That's not like horror though. Like that was just like it's a plant monster, right? Like the idea.
Yeah, I'm
like,
trying to go for.
horror
There was a
sorta.
creepy light in a swamp.
That was not a plant. That was not a plant. Yeah, like horror in this instance is like it's not like a boo jump out and get you monster. It's like the creeping like background sensation of like, oh shit, like it could overwhelm us if we miss a step.
If you aren't staying on top of
like
it,
it's like
yeah.
that, like the more like ambient scariness. Like you falling into the trap of that plant monster was like a real quick scary.
Okay, I realized we were gatekeeping what horror is here now.
Yeah, there's a difference between horror, terror, and fear. Do you really want? I can do this, but it will take.
I'm sure Xander can explain to us the
And there's
difference.
also
This is
spoopy
the
on one
X
end of the
region, X12.
It's
His
maybe
face.
called X12, yeah. It's actually the amygdala that's the center of fear in the brain.
Right.
And creeping fear is different neurologically than shock fear.
Ha!
See, and that's what
Look
I'm
at
trying.
that!
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you're right. You've kind of there's. I mean, we've all seen server rooms on TV. Probably. I don't think I've been in more than one. But like there are these kind of large racks of like computers, and if you let the moss grow over it, that'll probably be bad because it eats rust, or not eats rust, makes rust and eats chemical bonds. I'm not too clear on this. Look, I'm a physicist, not a biologist. Anyway, yeah, so you got metal-eating mosses that are slowly advancing on your computer systems as you try and get them online. Who wants to give me the lore roll for that? I'm betting it's Lissa. But maybe it's not.
13.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, so
wow.
It's our second,
you know
of the
these
night.
systems. They did indeed leave the default admin password, which is the same default admin password that you've left. Password 123. The secure. Sorry, now I'm thinking about Spaceballs, and that's my own fault. But yeah, so you've can access these systems. What data are you trying to get? Because you know these file systems. It's exactly what you were hoping, and you're very clever. So
Yeah, I guess I want to know like what they were researching when everybody left.
okay.
They left up like a Google search page and they typed in, how do you get rid of Ma?
Yeah.
It's just M-O and then just nothing.
So it seems like the kind of one of the major differences between your various underground cities is the food stuff, right? Like, given that you're 10 miles underground, it really doesn't matter that much, and so it feels a little vaulty, but not nearly to the same sort of messing around with everything for the sake of it effect, right? You're built on this very similar template. It's just you guys got bugs and fungus. Some other people seem to have got more mammal-based foodstuffs, which absolutely disgusts you even to think about. And this one seems to have been working on kind of like an edible moss system with like hydroponics and some sort of creature, maybe kind of a modified sheep of some sort. I'm not. What eats moss? Many things. The point is more that they were researching ways to make it more effective because the yield was starting to go down. And that's bad if you're trying to feed a society. I think you want calories if you're going to do that, and you need plant yield to get calories. Also, being vertical, it's got good caloric density. Which that's how they test a calorimeter.
Yeah,
We did that once, and yeah, that's like a basic chem like 101 thing. It's fun though. I like it.
I liked how when you said what
things on
eats
fire.
moss, both Peter and I got like really like concerned /
Right?
thoughtful looks on our faces. We were like, what does eat moss?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like bugs.
Yeah, mostly.
Like, I don't
I
think
feel
there
like
are a lot of vertebrates that eat moss, or like I guess
I think yeah.
semi-aquatic mosses would probably get nibbled on, like grazed by fishes. But like, yeah, I think mostly
It's
bugs.
possible. Yeah. I'm gonna go with a modified grazing mammal though, as to right. You see, maybe kind of a goat. Let's go with goat. Oh, I like goat.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got goats. In fact, as you're hacking, one sneaks in behind you and goes, "Bah!"
Excuse me.
Oh God,
No.
there's goats in
Sorry.
here.
You
This is
haven't
overrun
seen
with
it.
goats because of all of this moss.
Yeah,
There
are dead people bodies, but the goats are
indications.
still alive.
Well, they do eat this, right? Like that's kind of what those goats are for, and what this moss is for is to complete a something of a nutritional cycle.
Well, was it completely dark down here? Did the goats evolve to not have eyes for the past couple of thousands of years because they didn't
Oh,
need to expend the
Jesus.
calories on developing that
That's
part of their nervous system?
terrifying.
No.
I
Not-
hate
Blind
Maybe.
cave fish.
Not like goat eyes aren't scary enough to begin with, and now
They
you want
are.
them to be like.
I just blank.
Also,
The
if they
blank
don't need,
slits.
if it's warm enough down here, they wouldn't need fur to insulate them,
Yeah,
so they'd be
why?
naked
Why?
and blind.
Why?
Hmm
No,
Now I'm
they
picturing
still
naked
have.
goats.
It's in fact a slightly. Wait, you haven't seen any of these goats yet because you
Okay.
haven't sought them out. But
So
there
we
are
don't actually know there are goats.
no.
So-
But there are some pictures, so you can definitely tell what this strange sort of, and it's slightly greenish too because like flamingos, but with moss.
I
Anywho,
love that. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but when you said pictures of goats, my brain immediately went to like goat pinups on the walls of this lab. But you meant like pictures of goats like in the notes about their research.
well, also some of them were furries, and like I'm not judging, but you do find some of that there too. Yeah, furries work in tech. Everyone knows this.
See, this adds further credence to my naked goats. I don't know. I feel
Oh
like
God.
If the goats are
No.
naked, would they be furry?
As in
Never mind,
they're
don't answer
and
that
then
question.
hairless goats.
Please don't. I am not qualified to wade into this discussion. I'm not
That's
trying to
true.
shit on anyone. And
Naked
like I
is
just
different
said a thing.
from hairless because all goats are probably naked by conventional definition.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like naked
Ain't
mole
got
rat,
no
as in the
pants
term
on.
Right.
naked meaning hairless.
Right.
You know.
Right, and likewise for cats, I think
Yeah, naked
that's
cats.
often
Mm.
discussed in that
Sphinx
same.
cats?
So it's not. Yeah, exactly. But naked is used in that.
But
Which aren't
but-
actually
passion
hairless.
more,
But
Because there's a difference between hairless and naked. Like sphinx, like
Exactly.
Rex cats have an underfur that is very very short, but they're not actually hair. They have hair,
so
but it's not
sort of.
long guard hairs.
so when people put Sphinx cats in sweaters, are they still naked?
No,
This is an
that's the one
important
time
question.
they're not.
So Xander's leaving.
Xander's the smartest dude here. All right. The rest of you are stuck with me and these goats in this mob. No, you haven't found any goats. There might be
Xander's
goats.
going to
Do
get
you
his
wanna look
cat.
for goats?
Yeah.
I bet mentioning cats made Xander
Oh yeah,
miss
no,
his cat,
obviously.
and yeah.
That's what's happening. I
So for
love
the
that
record,
him.
mosses
Quite
are super
yes.
low in nutrients.
They are.
So
This, in
they're
general,
my quick research suggests that most vertebrates who eat mosses are doing it in the Arctic or in very high altitudes where there's
Oh, yeah,
basically
that
I
nothing
didn't
else.
Mhm.
think reindeer eat moss. Right. Yes.
Well, so fun
or is that
aside.
not moss?
Yes.
No, go for it,
So
yeah.
so
We are-
one of the
this is
most
relevant, I
common
think.
edible plants in the Arctic is caribou moss or
Mhm.
reindeer moss, which is edible. Humans can eat it, but it is actually a type of lichen, so not technically a moss.
Ah.
But it is,
Okay,
it is a
well,
super common thing to eat.
I may have termed it wrong. I'm talking
no,
moss
no,
in
no.
the
No,
sense
you're
that
good, yeah.
General.
None of our characters are botanists.
No,
Well,
yes.
also-
we are all interpreting this as
If-
a
I
moss.
just want to
sounds-
be clear from a metagame perspective. I'm not necessarily describing moss.
But it also makes perfect sense because if moss is super low in nutrients, then if you did want to feed vertebrates moss, you would have to feed them a lot, which is why they made it scary grow so fast.
Not
Because then
intentionally.
it could regen like as they're eating, It could just like
Right? Like
grow
they
back.
weren't going for this. They fucked up.
Oh,
Hey guys,
okay.
I bet we can make our goats
Jordan
really
looks,
fat.
and that's clear. They fucked up along the
Okay.
way. The last report is like, oh god, oh god, oh god. I'm paraphrasing here, but
I
Moss
was about to say,
Sybil
that's
is,
not a well-written scientific
outside,
report, but
right? It's outside of expected.
Hey,
or,
Yeah,
I would have
always-
gotten an F on that page of my
Yeah.
lab
Yeah.
journal.
I've
I've
seen
always
video
been a
game
fan of making
science journals where
scientific
they're like, at the end, like.
has well exceeded
I've always
expected tolerances and something. I'm not going to make up scientific jargon on the spot for this, but you're right. It is better phrased than that.
I've always been a
But
fan of
you're
scientific
all-
reports that use, general language to communicate concepts such as
I mean, like,
Perhaps he died while writing it.
like, have all 5 of us written code before? Because, like, if you
Yes.
haven't sworn in the annotations of your code, like, what are you even doing? So I bet there's
That's a
some
fair
of
point.
that in this report somewhere.
Oh yeah.
that's true. If this
I
is
don't
like
remember.
somebody's like casual lab notebook,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's an absolute
And
mess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
don't-
think what you're assembling, right? This isn't a formal typed up how
Like,
Moss
this
went
isn't
bad
the nature
report
paper.
because they went out and exactly they
I don't-
left before leaving that, but like you're kind of piecing together a lot of like the notes and the like that. So there are some personal journal entries. So there definitely might be somebody in there, like diary, web diary, not web, I guess. Anyhow, I'm overthinking it, but going like in a much more casual tone. Oh God, we fucked up. We made them too virulent. We shouldn't have done some specific thing that I'm not a geneticist, so I'm not going to speculate. But they shouldn't have done it.
We put the starfish regeneration. Oh wait, no, doesn't bull kelp grow really fast?
Maybe
Am I thinking of something else? Bull kelp, bamboo, one of those.
I mean, bamboo grows.
bamboo
fast.
does.
yeah.
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 Then
She's
maybe
gone now.
crossed it with bamboo. Who knows? Bamboo is also a pretty bad food source.
Yep.
Truly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could also talk about pandas,
Bull
but right
kelp
now we're
is
talking
a
about
good
moss,
food source,
and it's
though.
growing.
I've heard
That's
bull
dry
kelp is a
and
good
kept-
food source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I of course get my information from the TV show alone. So
Yes.
I get mine from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And
That
their
is a
kelp
better
camp.
source of information.
Oh wow, their Twitter is always so good.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite aquariums. Anywho, sorry.
top 10
San Diego's
aquariums
got a
go.
great zoo.
Monterey Bay, Georgia, Chattanooga, Baltimore.
Pacific.
The Neek.
Oh, you're not gonna give me the Museum of the Pacific? I will fight you.
The Neek in Boston is good. The one.
Yeah.
The aquarium that I
one's
worked
really-
at,
with
I
the
have
giant,
complicated feelings about the aquarium I worked at, but like it's got a good collection.
Oh, for sure. And
Is
the
that like
giant
how I
tank in
have
the middle.
complicated feelings about Burger King because I used to work there, or is it more complex than that?
I don't know. I feel like like,
I
like
used
you
to
need
like
to
Burger
get some
King, but then I
things
worked
off
there,
your
and now I don't
chest.
like Burger King. Is it like
Rate
that, or
your
is it more complex?
complexity on a scale from 1 to very complex thing.
Oh, no, I
of
still go
which
there.
Shall
I
be
just-
TBD.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Once I found out they fed grilled cheese sandwiches to their grouper, I couldn't respect them anymore.
What?
I was
I
coming
got
up with
that.
a silly
It took
example.
a second, yeah.
Oh. No,
Anywho.
it has nothing to do with how they treat the animals and everything to do with how they treat their employees. But anyway.
Ah.
I've had, I'm not going to start shit talking charities and museums, but
Nope.
I have had friends who definitely could report similar experiences at similar places. Anywho,
Anyway.
Um,
North
we're-
Carolina has a great aquarium. Just want to shout it out. I've worn one of their T-shirts on this broadcast before.
Nice.
nice.
Oh,
Hey,
really wanna go to the
San Diego
Georgia
Zoo is my
Aquarium.
favorite zoo.
I haven't been there. I really want to go to the Georgia Aquarium and do the experience with it's manta rays, right? Because that seems super cool.
think so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's nice.
Don't they have whale sharks?
That
Wait.
yeah, I think it's manta rays and whale sharks. Yes, I would like to do that experience because it sounds cool. But anyway,
Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of moss. Some of the reports go, they were trying to grow it. With this in mind, I guess there's also kind of I'm trying to. So what you have are largely the Institute Academy equivalent files. Like you can. This is kind of sealed off from other portions of the computer system for personal secret reasons, Jordan, I think would be fair to say.
Okay.
You've certainly, well, like, right, or more security, rather, like, you're doing research stuff on it, and it doesn't, the nuclear engineers don't need that, and likewise, you don't need their shit, and so if you're hooking them up, there's certain levels of risk, and this is a very contained backup system, basically. And so you don't have access to like all the data, more just like the institute's portion or academy's portion of it, which is, since they were primarily doing the project, right, that's quite a bit. But you also, yeah, that's really what I'm trying to get across, is that there could be other computer data around here somewhere. You don't necessarily get an indication that there is. I'm just, talking way too long to say nothing. What do you want to do? Anyone, not just Jordan. I just said your name because we're in your equivalent base. But
where do we keep the hooch?
That
Can
would
you
be
distill
the
moss?
agricultural section, probably. You can distill anything if you try hard enough.
I go looking for a walk-in closet full of breakfast cereal.
Lissa, can you think of any other resources this academy might have that would be useful to us? Since this seems like maybe it's more of a scavenging mission than a good relations mission at this point. Unless we want to have relations with the moss, I don't know. Maybe it's open to treaties.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out what our goal is here. Now that we've gotten down here and there's like no people and like no food and this moss that's like maybe trying to kill you or maybe not.
At the very least, can I recommend that we look for decon
go ahead. What's your
materials or technology so that we don't take this out of this place with us? Like,
are there like hazmat suits anywhere?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, once we're off the elevator, like, everybody's got to walk through the shoe bath or whatever, right? Because, like...
Yeah, if you come back up with spores, could certainly go.
Everywhere.
I will, let me give you this, because I kind of meant to do it in a better way, but, like, I don't want it to get missed. And here we are. Is in the reports, the kind of regular... mentions of trusting a plan or the plan in a way that's not, there's no data about that. And so you kind of suspect that like the central, not Xander's equivalent, but like the council equivalent over here, that building, the like administrative, there we go, words, huh? Building might have kind of more details about the personnel part and like where they might have gone. Which is, I think, the data you're most hoping to come away with, in addition to not a moss disease, which Sheryl is right to point out. I mean, disease, but pathogen.
Well, infestation, invasive species transfer. Speaking of, you mentioned spores. Are there little reproductive bits hanging out on the moss, or is it just sort of growing and clonally reproducing without reproductive structures?
No, it's definitely oh god, I don't feel qualified to speak here, but I'm gonna authoritatively. It's definitely more of a cloning process. I don't think you could really do something in like that as quick. I think that like if you just go into mitosis hyperdrive.
Moss sex also requires water, so if there isn't a ready source of water down here, then the spores wouldn't go anywhere anyway. So those are two reasons. And what?
I mean, go ahead.
Essie wants to take some of the moss with her.
Damn it, Essie.
I mean, like,
you got so close to your webcam for that. Why?
She doesn't want anybody else to notice that she's taking it.
Oh, it's subversive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all right,
speaking directly to Jareth and no one else.
That's not how that works.
None of you people... No, Sheryl, shut up. You're not involved in this conversation. All right, give me a... this subterfuge one is at the family level, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Give me that anyways. I don't care. Your family, because
That's
like
a-
you're not the only member of your family here. I mean, you're definitely with support teams that are pretty small, but like each of
Okay.
you probably has 2 or 3 other folks, and so like we're
which
just gonna
is
dare
it
keep distracting a bit to see if you can steal this moss.
what blood?
Sway is the
Sway?
family thing that you're rolling.
We see nothing.
All right. Good. Then you secretly collect some moss for later use. It could go wrong, but hey, it could go so right, baby.
Mm.
What the?
Why is Peter?
What
What the fuck?
the hell was that?
You saw nothing.
Oh, he
We
went to
saw
the edge of
nothing.
his range.
Glorious. All right. So while Peter is not doing that, yeah, I think you roughly find that the administrative building might have kind of more the takedown and leaving part of the plan. Is I think what the clues largely point to, not just like of generic sort of like the plan. It's much more like these people are taking care of the know how we're doing things that like are. It seems to have been, you're guessing, more of an authoritative command structure than how you ended up structuring, but not like straight up authoritarian or anything, just more, I guess, command economy style. Anyway, so that they're, trusting this plan, or trusting these people to kind of plan the, if things get out of hand, to have a plan for that is roughly what the Academy's notes say. Is that I've said so many words to say the same thing again and again. All right,
The
excellent.
plan. Sure,
Plan,
let's pursue the mystery and see if we can find out where they went and why.
Right? Like, might as well. I mean, the why, I think. You got the why.
Well, like I said, we're not
as
like. I mean, it could have been the moss or it could not have been. Like,
No, that's fair. It just, untended
Plus,
to,
even if it
this
was
would
the
be the
moss, I would
result.
think that you could like take everybody out and then basically firebomb the place and come back.
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, we're up to
that's not
firebomb.
very
Firebomb.
An indoor location, yeah. Right. I mean, hey.
You okay there, Xander?
I'm
Are
fine.
any of us?
No.
Sure. Is
This
Peter
is
just
fine.
gone? Is like Peter coming back at any point?
I don't know.
That's
His
fine.
last transmission was garbled. Maybe there was like, I don't know what's on the other side of that curtain.
I'm very excited.
He forgot to take his
uh,
wrench with him.
find out.
Whatever it was, he couldn't fight it off. It was a,
Yeah,
a
that's
large,
true.
loose lug
We're
nut.
just gonna see a hand reach back in. Whoop. And back he'll go.
I just heard mysterious laughter. So... Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Okay,
Peter.
that's the
you
aerial
missed.
net.
Lower. Welcome back. All right. Give me another one of the force rolls for going places.
Going
Now you're in a new
places.
place.
Going to a different
Oh,
place.
hang on.
What?
Before we leave, okay, that was good. We can keep that roll for later. But before we leave, do you try and reseal this room, or are you good just leaving this data to be abandoned to the moss?
Was when I broke in here, was it like easy to do, as in like I didn't destroy anything on my way in, or like
There, it's kind of a heavy door like you would find on a refrigerator, say. I'm gonna switch headphones after I finish this thought. Actually, I might be able to pull it off midstream. Anyway, so now I've lost my train of thought. I couldn't do 2 things at once. I tried.
you said
Anyway.
a refrigerator door, like I'm picturing like
Yeah,
to the
so,
to the
like-
cold locker in a restaurant or something. Is that what you mean?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely heavy enough and kind of got a seal more by weight than by like weight and temperature differential than necessarily a complete like airlock like you'd hope for if you were on the ISS or anything.
But it seemed like it was effective against the moss.
Yeah, when you opened it up, there was no moss in here, but now there is moss in here. Do you want to fix that before you close it?
Yes.
Fair.
Let's do that.
Okay. How? Man, the tricky questions.
Lissa, what kind of weird grenades do you have?
Mine aren't the.
So they can't do
Like-
any damagey stuff?
I don't
Why?
think so.
Why? Oh my god.
Where's the?
All right. Sorry, I'll be good. You know what? It's not. I'm just gonna use the regular. Oh god, they're not here. I'm so sorry. I'll be 1 second.
No worries. I think we're thinking. Anybody else got kill it with fire type stuff?
No,
No.
I think weird grenades is probably our best bet.
Unless they can't. If the weird grenades can't do any fire type damage, then.
Okay. If
Yeah,
I
because
could
weird
get a
grenades
couple
are aberrant, so I don't know. I always interpreted that more as like not as destructive.
Okay.
if I had access to chemicals, I could make explosives.
I mean, I guess we could look for chemicals.
Anybody got any volatile chemicals with them?
Ganymede has booze in his pocket and also cigarettes.
Well,
I made a point of memorizing all the things you could find in your pockets because I thought it might be useful.
I think that might be up to our DM, but according to my moves, with a few hours and access to volatile chemicals, I can make 1 stock of explosives, which is equivalent.
That seems likely.
Okay, cool. That's enough to spread fire over a city block-sized area, according to the.
Can I point out that we're trying to get the moss out of the room so that the computers are still usable. So if you explode the room.
Be used as a weapon with tags ranged, area, and brutal.
Yeah, that doesn't seem great.
Bring down a structure as big as a house.
That doesn't seem great.
It's not a finesse weapon, all right?
Well, so isn't the data that's
Sorry,
on these
I'm right now on
computers
my
also...
speakers, and so listening to you, but like this
No
is being
worries.
weird. I don't know what its deal is. Anyway,
What was that, Jordan?
Isn't the data that's on these computers also accessible by the Institute? Like on the Institute side?
Oh. Is it on a
Or no?
network?
Yeah.
this particular room is fairly isolated.
Okay. Never mind
Um,
then.
yeah, I think you probably have, if you wanted to make a copy sort of deal. I mean,
Can I
your
have
little
one of my robots? Yeah.
yeah,
Flash drive.
exactly. They definitely got better. Sorry for any echo that's happening. I don't know. I hope not.
No, you
okay.
sound good.
Oh, excellent. I guess it's doing a pretty good job with that. Eventually this will work. But yeah, you
I'll just tell the moss that I have a crush on it, and then it will leave.
Wow.
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 but sorry, you could probably attempt a lore roll to kind of subvert some of their memory banks for this. That doesn't seem at all implausible to me as kind of a way of saying
Another
okay.
13. Damn.
All right. You gesticulate and communicate to these little guys what you're trying to do, and remarkably, they understand. Right? That's always a bit of a risk, but
How do you know they understand? Through the beeps and the fleeps that they make?
They give tiny thumbs ups.
yeah, exactly.
Thumb
Very
ups?
Yeah,
Thumbs ups? I don't.
They form the shape of a thumbs up.
form of a thumb. I watched. Here we go. Okay, we're finally on the earbuds, I think. That's fun. Yeah, so the little guy plugs himself in, and you see kind of the holographic display that I've decided is there, kind of scrolling through like a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like it's kind of co-opting its visual processing to do data processing, which is great if you're trying to do that, especially if you're doing 3D matrix math. I know this and very little else about video processing, if I'm being honest. So yeah, you see kind of like weird visual effects and like the lights on the computers kind of all immediately shut down, but it gives you a happy, excited boop that lets you know that it's got all this data now. You don't have to worry.
Cool.
So we ruled out the firebomb is what I kind of missed while I was dealing with headphones, I believe.
Yes.
Which was
we
good.
ruled
I
out
was gonna-
firebomb, and in the chat
Mhm.
we have also ruled out using fire suppression systems because they're probably full of CO2, which would do the opposite of what we want. So,
Wait, we've got all this data now.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So now we
don't
need to
care?
save the computer,
Okay.
so we're
Now,
Now we don't
can I
care.
use
Yeah, this room is
now. Can I
now.
firebomb this room?
Well, if we've got all the
good.
data,
Doesn't
then we
it
don't.
stay here for a couple hours
Huh?
to
Yeah.
firebomb. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Let's just
So we're just doing, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you got the data. It's backed up.
If-
You
yeah,
could
if
torch
we-
this. It's not like it was going to survive unless you did something pretty drastic anyways. That was my point.
Well, but if we have the data,
no,
then we
yeah.
don't care about the moss in this
Exactly.
room. It can do whatever it wants.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Lissa's quick thinking and her drones, still only barely comprehensible capabilities, to me as well. Just to be honest, are quickly get the data saved.
that drone's totally gonna record a sitcom over that data later.
That happened to some of the moon tapes, so
I know.
I don't care that much actually. There's
Depends
way
on the
cooler,
sitcom.
More interesting. Maybe. Sorry. So yes, you kind of make your way towards Central Authority. Somebody got a partial success.
2 of us got partial successes, which makes it a whole success, right?
Administration. That's what I was fucking. God. Oh. No. Maybe.
No?
Yes. No. Maybe. I don't think that's how this works.
I'm
Actually,
getting mixed signals here.
if you called for aid, actually, if you called for aid, that does 2 mixed successes do move it up and also share the consequences. But since it's 10, the consequences are not really consequences.
Yeah. 2
you
mess
make your
make a
way
yay in this
through.
game.
Yeah, it's not as good as if it had gone the other. If you'd gotten like 2 yays, but
Well,
it's better than like a meh and a bad.
right. If we got a yay, we wouldn't have called for aid, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm trying to get to the yay range already. I hate what's happening. So you make your way over there. This kind of building, we've never really gotten too deep into the architecture of the Citadel, which I don't even like as a name, but we never beat. So it's going to be what it was. And no, it's fine. And so it's kind of squad. It's got some columns, but its main feature is to hold like a round room with kind of recess, like for talking, basically. All right, we went to amphitheaters earlier, but this one very much so. So that's kind of the main room of it. Off on the side are kind of a series of offices. Which seem to be mossy as well. Do people want to maybe glance? You got a good enough forks roll glancing through them. Well, assuming you do, you quickly find that the computer systems are bad because the moss, but there seem to be some sort of paper files in what cardboard boxes would surprisingly have survived better than filing cabinets in this exact scenario, unlike most of them.
I like this parable and where it's going. Continue.
Is it? It's gone. That's
It's
where
like
this
a
parable
like
is.
a pro nature and pro like plant based stuff, anti metal, and never mind. Keep going.
I guess.
Yeah, but imagining this is
I'm a
cardboard made out of
materials
moss,
engineer,
and
like-
so
Mhm.
Would that
Well,
be
yeah, I
cannibalism?
mean,
the moss has
Maybe,
very
but
strict
plants
morals.
do that all the fucking time. So, like, what are we doing? Right? You're a plant
Hands.
biologist.
Hands
I'm
are
not a
typically
plant
made out of metal,
biologist.
so
We literally talked about plant cannibalism on Arda.
Well, we
just like
tried
that
to.
last week.
We weren't
tried
sure
to.
what the
See?
conclusion on that was, but anyway,
Mhm.
life is a circle.
Right. So, sorry.
Plant
Yeah.
cannibalism week here on Nature Check.
Is it? It must be. Looking through the boxes, well, do you look through the boxes? There's some files.
Yes, we absolutely look through the boxes.
Yeah,
Show me
sorry,
your
I
Rolodex.
just... No, fair enough. I forgot that, like, I have to let you guys do things and not just assume that you would do them, right?
No, please.
Like, that's...
Keep us on track. We need
Continue
very
assuming.
tight bumpers.
Railroad
we're doing our
us.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm trying to. So, what you find here, how does the moss around the nuclear reactor fare? That's a good question. I think if you sorry, Qui-Gon Boward asked in question in chat about nuclear, bad. It doesn't like it.
It reacts bad. Okay.
It's a lot less strong. It doesn't seem to have overgrown those areas at all.
The moss
probably
grows up
the
towards the
higher-
reactor and is like, and
And
crawls
it's like,
away.
no, thank you. I would prefer not to. So kind of looking through the boxes, you find a lot of kind of planning documents. You find, like this was very much an orderly shutdown, in spite of the kind of state that it's in now. They seem to have left about, now that you're kind of looking at data here, 100 or so years ago. So, well, it was still dark out. But what you do find, and this is kind of the cliffhanger I'm hoping to leave us with, is a map of the world that contains several key points, including your own. So now you can go out and find everyone.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
But wait. But,
So I'm not leaving out that's what it's here.
right. But like, I guess I'm wondering, like, if they have a map that includes our points, but like we haven't
Yours
seen
didn't.
them.
You didn't specifically. A lot of those, like, they seem to have more. I would have done this better if I had done it better, but
No, sorry. I guess what I was
no,
asking,
yeah.
what I was asking is, like, if their map contains our city and the
Yeah.
Bostonian city and the New
You
Yorker
can confirm
city.
it. That's more an accuracy thing
Oh,
that I
okay.
was giving you that for.
Okay, I thought maybe the map was like an indication that they were like planning on going somewhere.
What they yes. Sorry, yes. There's another one circled to the southeast. Sorry. But like they're also like I think not I wanted to give you not just that, but also like now you know where all of them are and so could more extensively look. But of course we're cliffhangering here, so we'll see if that happens.
Do they form a pattern or spell out a word or something?
They spell out butts.
Thank you.
There's only 5
That's
of
exactly
them.
what I was gonna say. I was
No,
gonna say
they-
nuts.
There's only 5 I've told you about.
Well,
It's,
okay, so does the
I
map
think
have
you
more
can,
than 5?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
It's all equatorial. It seems to be about 50-ish, probably less, but more than 30. I'm making numbers up. But like they're well spread out, but like now that you know where they are, you can really have a swing at it.
Neat.
That's kind of what, if we get another age, what that'll look like. I've been Jareth. I've been your GM. I don't know
Butts
what
with
else.
3 T's, really?
Yeah, 7 T's actually.
7 T's. Each letter must be
It says
composed
butts a
of
lot.
very few points.
Yeah, well, but T's you only need like 3. You know, there's 1, 2, 4 really to kind of get it across. But so yeah,
Stop typing
the
butts in
cities
the
say
chat.
butts. Yeah, I don't really
It's
have
interesting.
too much else. But go ahead, Sheryl.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's interesting
No,
that they decided
yeah.
to go. Well, I mean, maybe they didn't have a choice, but that they went on an expedition in the dark.
Yeah, no, that I would have been horrifying, and I think I would have detailed it more for him. Just while we're here, hey, anyone have any questions of how things might have worked out had we gone a bit further? Because like, I don't want to give everything away in case we do pick up, but I can answer some world questions for the last like 5-10 minutes here.
If we,
What's up with the robots?
I was hoping you were definitely reading that Daisy situation, right? But like then they became your friend, and so I was gonna wait until your character switched to really pull it.
Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
what you suspected, I could see. But originally it was gonna be you, but like I was kind of having fun playing it out a bit longer, and so I did.
if we follow the trail that these people supposedly took? This is a like a multi-part question.
This one I very much don't have because
Okay,
this
well,
part I was like,
so
I
maybe
need a
this is
binge
fun
to-
for you.
Yeah, no, give me a
I'm
I'll
imagining
speculate.
that one of the possibilities is that we would find this like strange moss-covered lump in the middle of the wasteland because if the moss was their food and they were going on a journey to get somewhere, like what other food supplies would they
It
have
has
brought
to,
with
yeah,
them? So like,
I guess you
Is this
bring
like a-
iron filings for it to eat, right?
right, so you'd have this like, you
Like
know,
a truck full of iron
expedition.
filings.
Yeah, you'd have like this expedition going across the wasteland in the pitch dark and the cold, and like
Yeah.
then horror movie style, their food takes over the caravan. Like,
I'm saying, yeah, no, listen, it would have been good, but grad school, huh?
oh, I'm
Nah,
so
yeah.
sorry.
I wouldn't have
Yeah,
been that
I'm
good. I
typing my
couldn't have
dissertation
delivered
with
it.
my
Have you
feet right
seen
now.
my execution? I'm very good at ideas. I'm okay at execution. I had a lot of fun. I hope you all did too. I hope more than that you all learned stuff, especially the viewers, right? Like we're here to, have some fun, talk about some stuff. I
learned.
think
a bunch
we
of
did
stuff.
that at the least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to know most of you better, and I'm glad to have done that.
Aw. Well, this isn't. This
No,
is a. and-
we'll do an off-camera
I
debrief
was
on
gonna
this
say
too. but-
this is an indeterminate hiatus, so like who knows?
No,
Maybe
certainly,
we'll bring
yeah,
this back, or
yeah.
we can
That's
certainly.
a cool cliffhanger to go from.
Yeah.
But I felt like, knowing that you were going out on an adventure again and maybe kind of really getting that reconnection thing going would be a solid cliffhangy way to see what happens next, or not, it depending on how grad school goes for all of you.
Wow,
Thanks.
thanks.
Thanks for being Thanks for
I'm
being the
not in
GM.
it, so.
Thanks for being the GM on this, Jareth. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
And also,
Yeah.
Sheryl is great. We love Sheryl. Vote for Sheryl.
Yes, continue to watch Nature Check. I'll probably play some games on here sometimes. We'll probably be doing one shot some more.
I'll be back in the future for revenge.
This campaign ending isn't everyone's end on this channel. It's just
You can
My
find-
villain
towards
arc
this.
is going to be great. It's going to
Yeah.
pay off.
Yeah, exactly. We hope we could too.
You can find all of these people. You can find all of these people on the internet, at the very least, using their Twitter handles down in the reference section. Peter spends a lot of time writing Instagram posts that you should read to make him feel better about writing his Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Xander and Jordan have YouTube channels. You should go check out their videos because they're super cool. Jareth also works on a YouTube channel, so if you like music, you can hang out with that stuff. And also, are we allowed to tease the other thing that you were working on today? Is that a thing yet?
I could. I'm maybe working with my cousin on a podcast project, but listen, I've worked on a lot of projects, some of which have come to fruition, I don't want to
Fair.
put anything too much in, but if you were interested in any of my grandfather anecdotes, we are thinking about doing some stuff with that.
Yeah. So if you're interested in a nuclear...
Follow me on social
There you go.
media. I'll talk about it if it actually happens.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, he was a nuclear chemist involved in carbon-14, did some cool stuff. Google him, Jim Arnold chemist.
Very cool.
So yeah, you can find all of these people in all of those places as well as on this channel. So yeah, even though Burn is going away at least for a little while, we're going to supplement the channel with more video game streams. So like Jareth said, they played Kerbal Space Program the other day. Xander and Peter and I keep talking about playing Stardew Valley together, so maybe that will happen soon. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, there will be video game streams on this channel. There will also be a lot of TTRPG one-shots. So Peter and I were in the Wagadu Chronicles the other day. On Saturday, November 7th, Ryan and I, as well as two special guests, are going to be playing World of Wilderveer. And I've got some more one-shots lined up into 2021 if the world makes it that far.
I'm going to be on a transplanar one in
right.
December.
Yeah, and Jareth's going to be on a one-shot on the Transplanar Twitch channel in December as part of the 10 Tabletop Tales. We are also going to have a 10 Tabletop Tales one-shot on the Nature Check YouTube and podcast. It's not going to be live on our Twitch, but you can check it out on other places. So yeah, you can find all of these people in lots of places. And thank you so much for hanging out and enjoying Burn with us. Yeah, thank you to everybody who's hung out in the chat. And I guess with that, we will end exactly on time, which is a miracle.
Holy shit! How about that? What a way to do it.
Thank
All
you
right.
for enjoying and encouraging all of our weird tangents on this show. We will see you all later. Bye.
Bye.
See ya, Space Cowboy. All right.